Amar Rava. Afterwards, I'm going to speak. The Gemara says in Masechta Megillah Daf Zayin Amid Beis, Amar Rava, Chayev Inish Lebesumah Bepuria, Ad Lo Yada Ben Ar Hamal Baruch Mordechai. A person is obligated Lebesumah Bepuria on Purim to become Lebesumah. So Rashi says, Lebesumah is to become inebriated by yayin, through wine. That's how Rashi teaches. Lebesumah means you could give it out to the people, let them eat it. Such a big challah, give it to the people, let them eat it. It's a mechitzah, so move it and give it to the people. So Rashi says lebesumah is to become in lebesumah means lishtaker. Bayayin. Rashi says bayayin with wine. Mismach gula legula. Und das Kreten von Pesach. The Gemara says, why yayin? Why with wine? So there's a discussion in Poskim if you could fulfill the obligation of Chayev Inish Lebesumah not through wine, through other beverages, other mashkas. But Rashi says it's bayayin. The Gemara, literally the reason it was by wine is because Purim was very much connected to wine. The first feast of Achashverosh was V'yein Malchus Rov Kiyad HaMelech Vashsiyah Chados Ein Oines Kichein Yisad HaMelech. Thank you. Wine, yeah, more wine. Chayim l'chayim l'chayim. Chayim. Bayoyim HaShvi was Ketoiv Lev HaMelech Bayoyin. Later, when Esther makes a feast, Mishta Esther, the two feasts is weiter with wine. It happened on Pesach when there's a chiyuv of Dalet Kaisus and wine. So there's a lot of wine going on. But there's also something else. The Gemara says in Eruvin, Nichnas Yayin Yotzasoid. When wine comes in, secrets come out. In fact, the gematria of Yayin, the Gemara says, is what? 70. Yud, and Nun is 70, 10, and 50. The gematria, the numerical value of the word soid, which means secret, is also 70. Samach is secret, and Samach is 60, also secret, Samach. And Vav is 6, and Dalet is 4, 70. So Yayin and soid are connected. When people drink, the secrets come out. Everybody knows that when people drink, they say things that they usually don't say. When people drink, they do things they usually don't do. People who would never kiss you, kiss you. People who would never hug you, hug you. People who would never tell you that they hate you, tell you that they hate you. People who would never share what's going on in their life will share what's going on in their life. So many times, the way people understand the Gemara is Nichnas Yayin Yotzasoid. When people are inebriated, they're drunk, their true secrets come out. So the skeletons come out, and the demons come out, and the ghosts come out, and the shadows come out, and all the issues come out. Talking about ghosts coming out, we have an illustration. The kids liked it, okay? But the truth is that there's a whole other dimension to Purim. And that is, there are two types of secrets that people hold. There are dark secrets, and there are beautiful secrets, bright secrets. There are dark secrets, that's true. There's people sitting around the table here who have dark secrets. Who doesn't? Today, everyone has. If you don't have it, that itself is a problem, right? Chas v'shalom, you don't have dark secrets, they'll make you crazy until you'll find some dark secret when you were 6, when you were 17, when you were 3. You have to have a dark secret. But there's a whole other secret that we don't talk about enough. And that is, what about the bright secrets? How many secrets do people have that are so beautiful, but they don't know about them? Those are the secrets we want to hear about on Purim. Nichnas yayin yotza soid. We want to hear about the beautiful secrets. We want to hear about the bright secrets. We want to hear about the luminescent secrets. We want to hear about the soidas, the rosin, the raisa, the secrets that lay in you that you don't even know about. You know how many secrets, beautiful, beautiful, stunning, exquisite, geschmacke secrets people have inside of them, and nobody knows about them because they themselves don't know about them. They look at themselves and they don't see those soidos. They don't see those powerful secrets. And they sit down with somebody, the person wants to know, what are your dark secrets? But today the Ribbono Shel Olam asks a different question. I know about your dark secrets. Now tell me about your beautiful secrets. Tell me about your bright secrets. Tell me about everything that's good and right about you, not everything that's dark about you. That's what I want to hear. Nichnas yayin yotza soid. So I want to bless you, my dear brothers, dear friends, l'manachai v'reyai adabro na shalom bach, that tonight, Purim, the Hemshech of Purim, we should all be able to release our secrets. Which secrets? The beautiful secrets, the stunning secrets, tremendous koiches and potentials, and powerful light and love, and beauty and wisdom and depth and creativity that so many of you and so many of us have etched deep down in our systems, in our throats, and in our stomachs, and in our psyches, and in our souls, should come out. All the nuclear energy should come out, not Khalila, destructive nuclear energy, but nuclear energy that can light up your home, that can light up your marriage, that can light up your family, that can light up yourself, that can light up your community, and can light up the whole world. On that note, I'll say l'chaim on wine, l'besume bayayin, nichnes yayin, yotza soid, l'chaim, 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 l'chaim. Tafasta? Der Psalm hast verstanden? Everybody together. Key. Kiyano Amecha is ein Zach. That's Yom Kippur. But Yom HaKippurim is Kippurim. And today is Purim, nicht Yom HaKippurim. Yom Purim, it says, is higher than Yom HaKippurim. So today is Taka Kiyano Amecha, but there's another key. Ki Mordechai Yehudi. The last pasuk of the Megillah, the final verse of the whole Megillah that we read last night and we read today, Chayav Adam L'Kroisa B'Laylo B'Yoyim. What's the final, the grand finale, the last pasuk? The Gemara says in Brachas, Hakel Hoylech Acher Achitum. You always look at the end, the summation, the Sachakal. So the Megillah ends with these words, and everybody says it loud. Ki Mordechai Yehudi, Mishnah LaMelech HaChashverosh, V'Gadol LaYehudim, Ratzui L'Roiv Echav, Doirish Toiv L'Yamoy, V'Doiver Shalom L'Chol Zara. That's how Megillah ends. In other words, what's the last message? The last message of the whole story of Purim is, the Megillah gives you the climax What's the climax? I want to tell you about Mordechai. That Mordechai's story was written in the books of Modai and Paras. Key, why? Because Mordechai the Jew, number one, he was the viceroy of the king. He was the prime minister. Number two, he was Gadol HaYehudim, great among Jews. Number three, he was liked by most of his brothers. Number four, Doirish Tov Liyamoy, he searched for the welfare of his people. And finally, the last words, V'doiver Shalom L'chol Zara, which means he spoke peacefully. You can hear. He spoke peacefully with Shalom. He spoke with peace, L'chol Zara, to all of his children, to all of his descendants. This is how the Megillah chooses to describe and summarize the life of Mordechai. But let's think about these expressions. What are these expressions? Mishnah Lamelech, Gadol HaYehudim, Ratzu L'Revach, of Deir. 5 stages. Is there a sequence here? Is there an evolution here? What's the logic behind it? What's the rhyme? What's the reason? What's more important? What's less important? What's the ultimate? What's the preparation to the ultimate? The first thing the Megillah wants us to know is Mordechai was a Mishnah L'Melech HaChashverosh, which means he was second in command. There was a king, and just like Yosef was his viceroy, the viceroy of Paro, Mordechai was Mishnah L'Melech, he was second to the king. He was the prime minister, as we would call it today, the prime minister of the entire Farsi, the entire Persian Empire. What does that tell a Jew? What does that tell us? That tells a Jew Mordechai was in Golus, he was in exile. This is before the building of the second Beis HaMikdash. The expression of Gemara Megillah is we don't say Hallel on Purim, because Hallelu Avdei Hashem, Akati Avde da Achashverosh Anan. We're still servants of Achashverosh, so you can't say Avdei Hashem, Hallelu, Halleluka, Hallelu Avdei Hashem, because we're not servants Kivayachal of Hashem, we're still servants of Achashverosh. There's something in between. That's what the Gemara says, Megillah Daf Yudala. That's why we don't say Hallel on Purim. One of the 3 reasons. So Mordechai is in Golos, Vaharaya. Who's the king? King is not a Melech Mebeis David. King is not Melech HaMashiach. The king is Achashverosh. He's the king. And Mordechai is his prime minister. Mordechai is his viceroy because it's Golos. Nonetheless, even though it's exile, the Megillah wants us to know that Mordechai became Mishnah L'Melech HaChashverosh. I'm not used to this. I have to get used to it. A lot of rabbis are used to it. I'm not so used to it. V'napechu. Very good. Chaim. What does the Torah want us to know? Oich v'napechu. What does the Torah want us to know? Even in Golus, a Jew could reach the position of Mishnah L'Melech HaChashverosh. And if he could, or she could, he should, or she should. What does this mean in every person's life? It means that a person ought to achieve greatness and maximize all of their potentials. And if you could become Mishnah L'Melech HaChashverosh, don't duck and don't run, so be it. People who have influence need to flex their muscles and use their influence. Because of so many years of galus, Jews are often afraid of their own shadow. If you have a skill, you crush it. If you have a talent, you repress it. If you have greatness, you hide it. Not only from others, even from yourself. If you have potentials, you obliterate it. If you see somebody else has it, you make sure to make fun of it. You have to put it down. Sagt der Pasuk, Mordechai Yudi Mishal Melech HaChashverosh. A Jew has to achieve greatness. If you could change the world, change the world. If you could change your country, change your country. If you could change your city, change your city. If you can at least change yourself, at least be a Mishnah L'Melech in your own life. At least be the prime minister of your own life. That's the first message. People should stop putting themselves down and putting other people down. It's always connected. Man vergint sich nicht allein. You know, wie sagen wir, vergint sich nicht. Lass me fargenim. Lass me fargenim. Du bist doch ein Yisrael, Dicker. Chad benayu ketrei minon. Ein teire kederis Yisrael. How do you say me vergint nicht? No. There's no such a word in English. Because real nish faginin is only in Yiddish. In Yiddish, there's real nish faginin. Even in Hebrew, mefarginim is nish tazay geschmack. Faginim. So there's a something, you don't fagin somebody else. Means you don't tolerate somebody else's success. Meila. That's the Yetzer Hara. But there's something equally bad, and it's also the Yetzer Hara, but you think it's the Yetzer Tov. Mefagit nish zich allein. People don't tolerate their own greatness. You see greatness, you crush it, you destroy it. Somebody once said the definition of a Jew is, if he doesn't feel guilty, he blames himself. Mishnah L'Melech HaChashverosh. What are you hiding under the table for? Emerge. Emerge with your full glory. Hashmiyini es hareini es marayich. Hashmiyini es koilech. Ki koilech arev. Umarich nove. Here he goes. He says it's gaiva. That's where we go. I know the problem. Trust me. It's gaiva. Very good. So because we're afraid to be Bali Gaiva, so therefore we make sure to remain off of the Afer, dust and ashes. Very few people in our generation have to be worried about Gaiva. Trust me. I'm still looking for a Bal Gaiva. I'm still looking for a Bal Gaiva. You finished? Eich me a Bal Gaiva. Eich me a Bal Gaiva. In your best days, you don't know what Gaiva is. Halavai, you would know what Gaiva is. Karev Hashem l'nishbirei leiv es dakei ruach yoshia. Right? You know what dakei ruach means? Crushed spirits. Nishbirei leiv doesn't mean Mordechai had a leiv nishbar. Nishbar leiv means your heart is open. What does it mean, a broken heart? There's a crack. You're not smug. You're not arrogant. Your heart is open. That's what nishbirei leiv means. Your heart is open. You're a humble person. Breaking a heart doesn't mean you break a heart, you destroy your heart. Breaking a heart means you puncture holes to open up your heart to the infinity that is around you. That's what Shviras Halev means. That's what the Alter Rebbe says. The Alter Balatanya says in Torah Parshas Tetzava. We learned a few weeks ago the Maimer about the tzitz. Petachta of Petuchi Choysim. That's how we touch the Sfiras Alev. I grew up in the Crown Heights section of Brooklyn. There was a Yid there, a schnorrer. He would collect money for tzedakah. I happened to like him. His name was Teddy. Teddy. Anybody remembers Teddy? You remember Teddy? Teddy was a very special man. He had an edelkeit. He's already of the Olam MS. And he would sleep on one of the benches there, and he would collect money all day. He would walk around collecting money. Teddy, he was like a Ben Bayis in 770. There's a grocery store a block away from 770. It's called Khan Superit. Actually, my grandfather used to own it, and then he sold it to him. It's a grocery store. So he told me that he was in the grocery store, and Teddy was there. And Teddy was buying a lottery ticket. Teddy, the beggar in 770, was buying a lottery ticket. The lottery ticket was hundreds of millions. So he turned to Teddy and he said, Teddy, what will you do with the money if you win? So Teddy said, listen, Rabbi Yisrael, gewaltige Wort. Teddy said, I will hire security guards not to allow any other schnorrers into 770. So I can have the whole shul for myself. And then I'll be successful. Every door there's going to be a security guard. Nobody is allowed to beg, only me. The rest, that was Teddy. So a lot of people live their lives that way. Even when they're thinking about the lottery ticket, the best they can do is imagine I'm going to be the only beggar in 18 Forshay. Imagine you would be the only guy collecting money today in 18 Forshay. And every day, what would you come out with? Ganz geht. No? You would do pretty well for yourself. More than you're making. But you have to be the only one. You get all the business. Everybody who's in a Purim the Kamut gives it to you. So Teddy was thinking big. He was thinking big. Nobody else. There's thousands of people there in shul. He's going to get all the business, all the tzedakah. But he couldn't extricate himself from the mindset that I'm a beggar. I'm a beggar. I'm always going to be a beggar. The question is, will I be one of 1,000? Or will I be Einoid Mulvadi? I'll be the only beggar. But a beggar he remains. That's the pshat we spoke last year, I think, Purim. The Gemara says, also Masechus Megillah, after Chayav Inish L'Psuma B'Puria Adalo Yada, you have to drink wine. What does wine do? It brings out the good secrets. Gewaldig.
A Freilichen Purim.
A Freilichen Purim.
Torah.
Torah, always Torah. Always Torah. Freilichen Purim to you too. This won't work. Okay, no problem. Yishakeinim and Ashikis Piyu, Atzloch Rabbi.
Amen. Sure.
Gamatim, Psuris Tovus. Nice to see you. So what does the Gemara tell the story right after that? Megillah Daf Zayin. What's the next story? Everybody knows the story. Rabbi and Abzeda made a meal, Sudas Purim. Come Rabbi, Shachtel and Abzeda. Who is the Rosh Hashiva? Come Rabbi. Come Rabbi. For Shachtel and Abzeda. Rabbi stood up and he slaughtered Abzeda. So we gave quite a few shiurim on it, what it means. But there's one taich. Rabbi means greatness. Rav means large, big, great. Rabbi is greatness. Zayda means smallness. What happens by the meal of Purim? Come Rabbi. Shachtel Reb Zayda. Your greatness has to slaughter your smallness. The Herst. Your Rabbi has to shecht your Zayda. Your Gadlus. Okay, good. Your Gadlus has to shecht your Katnus. Mishtal Melech HaChashverish. And the truth is that you already see it right in the beginning of the Megillah, the first chapter, which many Svarim, Neschaptu, they struggle. What's the message of the opening chapter of the Megillah with all of the details and nuances of Achashverosh's party? Is it really relevant? Most Tanoim say that you don't even have to read it from there. What do you have to read about Toikva Shel Achashverosh? But Allah is like Reb Meir, that you have to read Koirei Skula from Vayibam Achashverosh. Which l'chaira, the point of that chapter is that Vashti was executed and Achashverosh needed a new queen. So it could have said, Achashverosh made a party, he was drunk, and he asked Vashti to come and she rebelled. I have to know that the party went for 180 days straight. And when he finished, you would think 180 days of hulenzich, of feasting suffices. Nah, nechte talk. Asa melech chalam animtzim b'shushan, mishta shiva, another 7 days. And now we have to know the designers. What the exterior design was like, what the interior design was like, chur, karpas, tchelas, boots, argama, the types of beds, the types of metals, the types of fabrics, types of tiles, everything I have to know. Types of goblets that he served, who cares? V'hashkas, b'chlei zav, v'kelim, shoynim, ma'inaf kamina. That's negeta Purim. He could have said he threw an extravagant party. He was drunk. Vashti rebelled. Next. You don't even have to say that. You could say Vashti got into a fight with his wife and he killed her and he was looking for a new queen. Why is this so relevant in all the details? And if you miss a word, if you miss a few words about what type of material Achashverosh used by his party, you weren't Yotzei Kriyas HaMegillah. That means you can't celebrate Purim if you don't understand. Chur, karpas, tchelas, ma'inaf kamina. A shikere goy. The Gemara calls him a melech tipish, an idiot, a half-chefan, a spineless fellow. The Gemara calls him a shtickle idiot, a meshugana. Haragas ishte mipnei oyavoy, v'haragas oyavoy mipnei ishte. First he murders his wife because of his best friend, then he murders his best friend because of his wife. That's what type of guy he is. And we don't know who he murdered after that, because the story ends at some point. People are hungry. So you understand the oimek. The mashmoas is that you can't celebrate Purim if you don't know which fabrics this Persian drunkard used to decorate his party. At least the women are listening. You can always rely on Esther Hamalka, Chvesert, on the men. So one of the explanations in this is that the Megillah is trying to teach a powerful lesson. And one of the powerful lessons the Megillah is teaching is, besides other lessons, is one that's the Torah wants you to know a very important point. And that is, you have to know how to throw a party. You have to learn from Achashverosh how to do things right. Here's a man, which as they say in Yiddish, nishken übergespitzte Chacham. He wasn't very clever or wise. And he had a lot of issues. Nonetheless, he understood that if you could throw a party for 187 days straight, anything less than that is not acceptable. Who ever heard of such a party? There are people here who came of age in the 1960s and were part of the counterculture movement of Adelo Yada ben Orr Haman Lebarach Mordechai, but not always in a Purim-dika way. Or maybe in a Purim-dika way, but the superficial Purim, if you don't understand what Purim is. And they would party, all the Woodstocks, etc. How long did the party go? A weekend, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 187 days to Shikizich non-stop. It's unique. It's more than a half a year. More than almost a half a year straight. I mean, I wonder what the economy looked like after a half a year of feasting. Who knows how to feast this way? So the Megillah wants to teach you a lesson. Mordechai Achashverosh, for whom his entire life was food and drinks and wine and all of the other things he was into and involved, like the Megillah describes and the Chazal describe even more. Even he understood that if you have the potential to throw a party for 187 days, you have to do it. And if you could make a party, v'hashkes b'chleizav, v'yein malchus rav kiyada malach rashiyah chadas einoines. If you could do it with the greatest of abundance, you have to do it. And if you can have chur, karpas, tcheles, butz, argaman, mitoizov, sheish, ketzav, everything the Megillah describes, you have to do it. Mordechai Achashverosh, a melech, Tipish understood this. So a Jew who comes from am chacham v'noven, from a wise and intelligent people, and understands that in life there may be more important things than getting drunk for 187 days straight. Hayitachem, that we don't understand, that you have to know how to throw your party, that you have to be able to do things according to your capacity. Nonetheless, people look at somebody else's capacity. I look at you look at me, you look at him, you say, based on this person, I'm doing well. Achashverosh didn't think like that. Achashverosh didn't say, based on all the other beggars, I'm doing well. No. I have 127 provinces under me. It's going to appear that way. So this is a gewaldige lesson. The Megillah is teaching a Jew never ever to surrender to mediocrity. Never ever to allow your smallness to triumph. Never ever allow yourself to live a life of quiet desperation and to surrender to meekness and to fear and to keep all of the greatness etched and hidden as a secret with all of the good excuses. As he said, you don't want to be a balgaiva, and you don't want to make people jealous, and you don't want to flex your muscles, and you want to be modest, which are all beautiful things. Not to be a balgaiva, not to make people jealous, and to be modest is all beautiful things. But nobody is going to gain from the fact that your light is not fully expressed. On the contrary, when I fully express my light, it helps other people express their light more. And the same is true the opposite. So the first thing you have to know about Mordechai is the last pasuk, Mordechai Yehudi Mishnah Lamelech Achashverosh. If you could be a king, you have to be a king. And stop questioning and second guessing yourself and putting yourself down again and again and again. Mishnah Lamelech Achashverosh. And it means emotionally, it means financially, it means psychologically, it means spiritually. Don't be afraid of success. There's no need to celebrate failure. Don't be afraid of absolute success. God doesn't need people who always look at themselves as small. He needs and wants people who can identify their unique greatness and actualize it. One of the greatest plagues of our generation is 4 words. People walk around with 4 words. Mi ani umani. Who am I and what am I? And the answer is ayin ve'efes mamish. Absolute nothingness. Mi ani, who am I? Nobody. Mani, what am I? Nothing. And you call it humility, anova. What does it do with humility? Only with humility. Verstehst? Come, Rabbi. Schachtel Reb Zera. L'chaim, 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 l'chaim. We'll continue with the next 4 stages of Mordechai. But first, let's incorporate first thing. So what does this mean practically? Everybody's sitting here. Each one of you has secrets. Each one of you has secrets. I'm not talking about the dark secrets. That you'll do in therapy tomorrow. If not tomorrow, Sunday. If not Sunday, Monday. It's none of my business, you dark secrets. We're not talking about the dark secrets. But every one of you has gewaldige soides, beautiful secrets. You have moiredike koiches, moiredike secrets. Tonight in the Yisratzen of Purim, it's time for you to let those secrets out. Tell yourself, genug with Zera, genug with Katnos. You deserve to be a Mishnah Lamelech. A Mishnah Lamelech. What did Paroi tell Yosef? When does it become Gaiva? Where is he? Where is the younger man? Geschrien Gaiva and then er weg. Okay, maybe he was afraid of Gaiva. Gaiva is when it becomes koichi v'oitzim yadi. All me, it become arrogant and stupid and smug. When a person realizes that you're a shliach of Hashem in this world and you're a conduit for the light of Hashem in this world, what's the gaiva? Fakert. Your strength is not your own. It's not selfish, narcissistic. It's divine. You're an ambassador of God. You're an ambassador of love, light, and hope. What's the gaiva? Nothing to do with gaiva. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. You understood? Huh?
Where's Zom?
California.
You went back? Like him?
Yeah. It's the bench. Chaim Tovim Ol Shalom. Tzloch Rabbi.
How are you? Nice to meet you. Over here,
What's your name?
so nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Slow-mo pearls. I go to a regular rally.
Valde Genossen. Valde.
I'm sure Rabbi Jacobson.
Amen. We want to hear you more. We want to hear you.
Medina dem Eibischen genossen. Still need to know why it wasn't Chaim Meister, I'm saying.
Ja.
Maybe die Schminisch, aber Schminisch kommt zu Klappkeit. Chaim, beautiful.
Chaim Teure will Shalom und Chaim Lebracha.
Schönen Weiß, einfach wieder, ich gehe Nacht danach.
Aber das Sache hat
I
zwar
didn't do it for hours early, I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
I didn't tell me.
So das Teure ist damit Kalayame. Im Koto in Ato Beinecho Aloi Roish La Alfa Yisrael Oto. Chaim, L'chaim, 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 L'chaim. Ha'irani Chochem Echad. Is that a Chochem Echad, yeah? Ha'irani Chochem Echad. The Haftarah of Parsha Zacher, right before Purim. What does Shmuel tell Shaul HaMelech? Im Koto in Ata Beinecha Haloi Roish LaAlfa Yisrael Oto Vayim Shachacha Hashem LaMelech Al Yisrael. You may be small in your own eyes, and he doesn't deny it. But you're Roish LaAlfa Yisrael, Hashem anointed you to be a Melech Al Yisrael. Every single person is anointed. Every single person is Nimshach. Every single person is anointed in his or her own way. Shluchai shel Adam k'maisai. The Balatanya says Shluchai shel Adam. Adam is Adam ha'elyon, the ultimate Adam. Adam ha'elyon shala kisei. Shluchai shel Adam ha'elyon is k'maisai. Im katan ata beinecha. You may be small in your own eyes. You were chosen as a head. Each person in his or her own capacity. One person is a melech on a country. One person is a melech on a state. One person is a melech on a city. One person is a melech on a neighborhood. One person is a melech on a block. One person is a melech in his own home. One person is a melech in his own business. One person is a melech on himself. Eicha melech. Vayim shechacha Hashem lemelech HaYisrael. Chaim, Chaim, Chaim. You can't only identify with your brokenness. You have to be able to identify with your wholeness. It doesn't mean that there's no katnos. Of course there's katnos. Of course there's katnos. But you have to be able to say, I want to identify with my wholeness, not with my brokenness. The challenge is not that there's brokenness. When the brokenness becomes who I am, there's nothing else. A person gets into a bad mood, angry mood, depressed mood, whatever it is. But the choice is, am I going to identify with that as the exclusive feature of who I am? It's there, of course it's there. But who said it? That has to become the melech. Ki amalchus sholchahi. What do we say in Aleinu? Ki amalchus sholchahi. What does ki amalchus sholchahi mean? Wie teitst du, Perish Amilus? Ki amalchus sholchahi. Malchus belongs to you. So what are we saying? Malchus belongs to the chelik elekami mal mamish. What do you have to give Malchus to all of the broken parts of your system? Ki amalchus sholchahi. Malchus belongs to the part of you which is divine, to the part of you which is wholesome, to the part of you which has infinite possibilities, to the part of you that's a mirror of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Why do you give Malchus to the part? Why do I have to give Malchus, royalty, kingship, power, to the part of me that's broken, that's fragmented, that's filled with traumas and insecurities and fears? That's where Malchus belongs. Malchus belongs where it belongs. Vayim shechacha Hashem lemelech HaYisrael. Why is the melech in me, the most broken, traumatized part, becomes the melech malchei hamlachim? It's there. Give it a kiss, caress it, embrace it, nurture it. How about b'serachmanas? Why do you turn it into a melech? You have to take an infection and turn it into the king. It's an infection. So we have infections. A person has a lot of milus and has chesroinus. We all have flaws. One of the flaws have to become the king. That's the first message. Mishnah Lamelech HaChashverosh. Then there is the next stage. Gadol HaYehudim. He wasn't only the Mishnah Lamelech HaChashverosh. He was also Gadol HaYehudim. He was great among Jews. Throughout history, you had Jews who have become very, very successful to everybody else. The Chiddush of Mordechai was Gadol HaYehudim. He was a Gadol among Jews. He remained a Gadol. There were Jews who flexed their muscles, who became very big, very popular. Mela. The Chiddush of Mordechai was Gadol HaYehudim. By Yidden is a given a Gadol. That was the Chiddush of Mordechai. By Jews he was a Gadol. He was great by Jews. He wasn't only in the palace, he came into the palace, Mordechai. By Jews he was considered great. Why was he considered by Jews great? Because he never lost his soul. Because there was no gaiva. Because he was on a shlichus of Hashem. Ver Mordechai. Emes. Yeah. Emes. Gadol HaYehudim, he didn't sell his soul. The Gemara says in Megillah, Daf Yud Gimel, why is Ish Yehudi Haya B'Shushan Abira? Ish Yehudi Haya B'Shushan Abira. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe once asked, there was one Jew in Shushan Abira? Ish Yehudi Haya B'Mansi. Ushmai Shalom Potash. Ben Yori, Ben Shimon. Well, Ish Yehudi, there was one Jew in Shushan Abira. So going, Ein Yid. Shushan was filled with Jews. It was the capital of the Persian Empire. So the Rebbe touched, Ish Yehudi Haya B'Shushan Habira. Most Jews were Jews in the Shtibel. Ish Yehudi Haya B'Shushan Habira. In Shushan Habira he was a Yid. That's a different Indian. Ish Yehudi Haya B'Shushan Habira. In Shushan Habira he was a Jew. He wasn't a Jew in his basement. And then when he came to the real world, he was somebody else. The Gemara says in Megillah Yud Gimel, why is he called Ish Yehudi? So Stira, Ish Yehudi is from Shevet Yehuda. Ben Yair, Ben Shmi, Ben Kish, Ish Yemini is from Binyamin. Binyamin is Ben Yemini, is Binyamin. So he's not from Yehudi, he's from Binyamin. So the Gemara says, why is he called Yehudi? Because Kol HaKoifer B'Avodah Zarah is called a Yehudi. Definition of Yehudi is, he's Moida in Hashem and Torah, and he's Koifer, he denies Avodah Zarah. That's why he's called Ish Yehudi. Mordechai was Gadol HaYehudim. He was a Gadol in the world of Yehudi, he was a Gadol. The different type of Mishnah Lamelech. There are people who become very successful and very powerful, and then you can't talk to them. They stinken, they smell. That's the opposite. Of course become great, but be Gadol HaYehudim. That a Yehudi, what's a Yehudi? A Yehudi is somebody who's Koifer B'Avodah Zarah. He worships nobody, not even his ego. That's where he's a Gadol. He doesn't worship his own ego and his own self-aggrandizement. He starts taking himself and his ego seriously. That's not enough. Now there's step 3, it's even deeper. Ratzu l'roi v'echav. Now this is mamish, a stab in the back. Imagine a person gets up at the Levaya, a funeral of a great man, and he starts talking about this man. He was this, and he was that, and he was unbelievable, and he was extraordinary. And most people liked him. It's almost like the anecdote with there was a Rabbi Nebuch. He had a heart attack. A rabbi in a shul with a board of directors, a real shul with a real board. And he's in the hospital. So the president of the board comes to visit him in the hospital. He says, Rabbi, I have great news for you. Last night the board had a meeting and we were negotiating, we were discussing if we should make a resolution to wish you a recovery or not. That was the discussion. And I'm happy to report that we took a vote. It was 7-6 that you should have a recovery. 7-6 that Mordechai is a good guy. Really? Imagine you're looking into a shidduch for your daughter. Yeah, so you call the shadchan, I heard about this bacher. Most people like him. Really? You're not going anywhere with this. Most people like him, really? And what about the others? You don't want to say anything, don't say anything. The end of the Megillah, the Megillah can't say anything else. What type of chutzpah is this? This man saved Klal Yisrael. There was some nudnik in back of the shul who's a chain smoker and eats sponge cake a whole day with herring and smokes one cigarette and then so now he becomes the Manda Amma. At the end of the Megillah, we have to talk about this nudnik. There's always chronic complainers among Jews. You could save him, you could save his family, you could take him out of the dumps. He'll still say he's doing it for himself. You always have chronic people who nothing is ever good enough. So we have to turn them into gansenim yuchasim, and they become the opinion makers, and they decide the agenda. Maybe there were a few nudniks who didn't like Mordechai. So there's always somebody who doesn't like it. So Dasan and Aviram become the Deizakers. They become the leaders. They become the trendsetters. We have to say, Rotzi l'roi v'echav. Here's a man who literally saved the Jewish people from extermination. He inspired Esther. He told her what to do. He's the one who implemented what Esther said. I mean, he was behind it. Rotzi l'roi v'echav. That's what you say about him. So Rashi says immediately, Pshat. What does Rashi say? Lefi shabotel mitalmud Torah v'nichnas l'shrara. Because Mordechai became the prime minister of the Persian Empire, so he couldn't sit and learn like he used to learn before. Before that, Mordechai was in the Sanhedrin, leader of the Sanhedrin. So his whole life was a life of Torah. Now, he certainly learned. Probably woke up at 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning, and he learned an hour in the morning, maybe an hour at night, maybe lunch break. But he ran the whole Persian Empire. He was the Mishnah Malach. He didn't have the same time, the same mental space. Batal medivri Torah v'nichnas l'shrara. He assumed such a powerful position. So most Jews appreciated it because they understood that Mordechai didn't do it because he was looking for fame or power or money. He did it for one reason and one reason only, to be able to remain influential in the most important office of power in the world at the time. Achashverosh was a Moshel Bekippah, the Gemara says. He dominated the world. He was a superpower. But there were some Jews who felt it was wrong. They didn't have a personal vendetta against Mordechai. They felt this is not Mordechai doesn't belong in the White House of Shusha. Mordechai doesn't belong in the White House of Shusha. You have a Jared Kushner. Zolom Zayin zu gesund. But Mordechai is a Sanhedrin Yid. Mordechai is Kol Kulei Torah. That's where he belongs. So in Mela, some of them felt he made a mistake. It was an argument, a legitimate argument. Most disagreed. Most held Mordechai was absolutely right. But why does the Megillah have to mention this? Because this is the third step. a Mishnah Lamelech you should be. And Gadol HaYehudim you should be. But there's one more thing. The Megillah is mentioned. That Mordechai never ever forgot that this was not his natural place. And that's why there are some of his brothers who disapprove of what he's doing. Even when the Jew becomes a Mishnah Lamelech HaChashverosh, he has to remember that his real natural place is in Aplat Gemara. His real natural place is in Apedek Mishnayos. His real natural place, like a fish in water, is in the world of Torah. Do you have to go into the palace and that's your shlichus? Absolutely yes. Do you need to become the viceroy of the country and that's your shlichus? Absolutely yes. Do you need to rise to the greatest of greatness in order to fulfill your mission in the world? Absolutely yes. But even at that moment, he has to remember, it's not where his natural home is. The natural home of a Jew is not in the world of politics. It's not in the world of business. It's not in the world of money. Should you make a lot of money? Absolutely yes. Not millions, billions. I follow from my Jacobson. Oh, close to the school. She just spoke about money in the beginning. I didn't realize. She got to put it in Mordechai and the Megillah. I'm sorry. I was talking about it. Mordechai. Okay? Listen, we're wrong shut up. So you never attack it. I once gave a bracha. I told her, you should have parnassus. Parnassus is fine. It's not Hashemish. I gave her a shot parnassus. I need wealth. I don't need parnassus. Parnassus, you bless other people with parnassus. That I like it. It's a good answer. So he tells me, I was like, go ahead. What are you cursing me? Parnassus? It's been a chashlepi. Parnassus, you want to give me? What are you going to turn me into Kenny? People read bodyguards so they don't let the other beggars in. It's been a chashlepi, that beggar. A Jew must become successful. And whatever your tchum is, this one a passion is and this one a ruchen is. But you have to remember, Rotz is a roiveh. You may be doing the right thing, but there's a sacrifice. The sacrifice is a Jew's natural place is the world of tefillah, the world of Torah. You open it up, that's where you swim, naturally. You open up Gemara, that's where a Jew lives. A sefer of Nigla, a sefer of Chassidus, a sefer of Machshava, Torah Shebusaf, Torah Shebal Peh, whatever it is, Halach, Yishayim, Machrayim, Paiskim. The world of Torah, that's his or her natural, organic, holistic place. Like Rabbi said, it's a fish in water. That's where I am. Why is it so relevant? Because it means that whenever he has a moment, whenever he has an opportunity, he goes back to his natural place. Rubashkin was once speaking shvuas about learning. So he gave a mashal. It was very simple, but very moving, very simple and very deep. He said, why does a Jew learn? Why does a Jew learn Torah? He said, there's a lot of calculation. One person learns because he wants schar, he wants reward. He wants schar in that world, in this world, in the possible. Another person learns, he wants to be a governor. He met me today, he says, I'm learning day and night. I said, why? He said, I want to be a Talmid Chacham. I want to be a Talmid Chacham. That's why I'm learning. Why is it so good? So some people want respect. Some people feel that that's the ultimate perfection of life. That's the tachlis, whatever. Fine. Another person learns, a person wants to know how to live. Well, Das says, I want to know how to live. Another person lives, I want inspiration. I want inspiration. Torah gives me inspiration. He says, there's something called Torah Lishma. What's Lishma? He said a child comes home, a father comes home from work. And he has a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old child, and they're very close to each other. And when the child hears the key and the lock, or a knock on the door, and he knows his father is coming, he runs to the door. And his father opens the door, He runs over to him. He runs over to him and lifts himself up. So the father should lift him up in his arms and hold him by his chest and just embrace him. So he said, why? Why does a child do that? Because he's going to get schar? Because the father's going to reward him for hugging him? Because he's going to get schar in that world? He does it because he wants to be a couple? Because he wants to be called a good child? He says, no. Because it's his father and he loves him. He wants a relationship. So he said, Ayid comes home from work. He had a hard day at work. He comes home at night. Where's the good trips? He comes home at night. The Rebbe said, an effort to forget your mother. He says, as if a kid loifed around in the bosom of Tata, it's like a child, runs to be uplifted by the bosom of his father. He wants to hug his father. Since he So he wants to hug his father. This is where he is. This is who he is. A whole day he's somewhere else. It's like you see with family. You have two types of fathers, two types of mothers, but especially you see two types of fathers. There's a father who may be out all day. He has to sweat to make a living. But when he comes home, that's his natural place. This is where he wants to be. Because this is where his wife is, this is where his children are. Then you have another person where the workplace becomes a substitute for that house. He doesn't want to be home. He never has to be home. It's onus al pi hadibur. So there's something very sad about that. You may have to be away for a very long time, but when you come home, you're coming home. Home, sweet home. There's nothing like coming home. This is where I really want to be. There was one Sayyid, he was a chassid from the Rebbe Maharash. The Rebbe Maharash was the fourth Lubavitcher Rebbe, Reb Shmuel, son of the Tzemach Tzedek. So he was a very big businessman and he was extremely successful, and he used to travel a lot to Petersburg. Petersburg, which was the capital of Russia, Tsarist Russia. And when he was in Petersburg, he would dress in a very, very modern fashion. When he would come to the Rebbe, he was embarrassed. He would put on the Hasidic costume, the Hasidic lavush, the Hasidic garment. After many years, he got older and more mature, and he tells himself, I'm not going to lie anymore. I'm not going to be this hypocrite. When I come here to Lubavitch in Russia, the city of Lubavitch in Belarus, I'm this whole chassid. And then when I go to Petersburg, I become this very modern Jew. I don't want to live a double life. I don't want to have a split. I'm going to be honest and consistent. So he decides that when he comes into the Rebbe, he's going to dress just like he dresses in Petersburg, but mamish. So he walks into the Rebbe Maharash, dressed just like he dresses in Petersburg. So the Rebbe Gita Kok and says, what's with this new costume that you put on? You know, the Purim costume. So he tells the Rebbe, he says, I'll be honest with you, I've been lying to you all these years. I came in like a Ungeton v'Achsidish Yid, I was dressed like a Hasidic Jew, I was lying. Because in Petersburg, I took it all off and I dressed completely different. I decided I don't want to lie to the Rebbe anymore. I want to be honest. So I dress here like I dressed there. So the Rebbe smiled. He says, Petach, which means fool. The means to do is my abgenat. You think you were fooling me? You think I didn't know how you dress? You think I don't know who you are? You think you were fooling me? Ich gemeint, dort tust du sich an Leute Emmes und dort tust du sich an, weißt du, Purim begonnen. Jetzt sehe ich es verkehrt. I thought, here is your natural place, and over there you dress up. You dress up. You need to work with them, so you dress up. That's what I thought. I thought over there you're dressing up, and this is your natural place. Now you're telling me that's your natural place, and here you're dressing up. I knew exactly what you look like over there. So this is a question everywhere in life. There's people, they may be home, they go on business trips, but when they come home, this is where they would love to be. They want to be with their children. They want to be with their close ones. They have to do what they have to do. They have to do what they have to do. And then there's people, they forget who they are. Ratzui l'roiv echav. Ratzui l'roiv echav means, it wasn't just Mordechai was a Mishnah Lamelech and he was Gadol HaYehudim. He was great among Jews. He was connected to the Ish Yehudi. It was much deeper than that. For Mordechai, always remember there's a sacrifice here. There's a debate. Some people disapprove, and there's a reason why they disapprove. So even though I disagree with them, but there's a Mesiras Nefesh here, there's a sacrifice. This is not the place where I find all my tainug, all my pleasure. Do I have to do it? Yeah. Do it with simcha? Yeah. Do it with joy? Yeah. Not with depression. But to remember that the real place of a Jew is in the world of Ein Oid Milvadai, in the world of Achdus Hashem. A Jew opens up a Perek Tanya, opens up a Maimen, Torah Oid, and Lekutei Torah, and he melts in ecstasy with Ein Oid Milvadai, with Achdus Hashem. That's where he comes to life. Tomorrow morning, or a few hours from now, he goes into a different world, and the world is a world of Mishnah L'Melech HaChashverosh and so forth. It's true, because the ultimate objective of creation was to reveal the oneness of Hashem in the real world, to synthesize heaven and earth, to integrate the highest and the lowest. Ein Oid Milvadai doesn't mean in your home and in your shtibel. Ein Oid Milvadai means in the real world. But that's a shlichus. It's a mission. It never substitutes, and it never becomes the source of his dignity, the source of his pride. Where he feels most comfortable, where he feels most natural, is in the world of Torah, in the world of Tefillah, in the world of Elikus, in the world of godliness. Elamai, the Rebbeinu Shalom, sent him on a mission to go from heaven to earth and transform landscape earth. And then there is Doirish Tov Liyamai. Oh, Doirish Tov Liyamai. That's the next step. What's Doirish Tov Liyamai? Doirish. You know what Doirish means? He searches. The Gemara in Rosh Hashanah says, Tzion ein Doirish la miklal, the boy Dirisha. Dirshu Hashem be'ematzai. Dirshu chira. To search, to inquire. Doirish Tov Liyamai. A person becomes so big and so successful and so great. Who does he forget about? He often forgets about his people. He's busy saving the world. Doirish Tov Liyamai. He remembers to always look how he could seek the welfare and the benefit of his people. And it's not just if somebody comes to him for a favor. Doirish, he searches to do good for a person. Very often, people, when they become more successful in life, they don't have time for individuals. A person comes, I need a favor, I need to talk to you. Baruch Shepatrani, how do I get rid of this one? How do I get rid of this one? Mordechai was the most powerful person in the world after Achashverosh. But what was his focus? Doirish Tov Liyamai. Wie kann ich tun a Tove for a Yidden? How can I do a favor for another person? And not only if the person comes to me, even if the person doesn't come to me. He may not come to me. Doirish, I search. How can I do a favor? His priorities were always intact. Sometimes you meet people, God bless them with money, with success, with power. They don't have time anymore for small people. They're busy only with Klal Yisrael. They're busy changing the world. He may be a Gadol Yehudim. He may be a Mishnah Melech HaChashverosh. But you want me to think about doing a favor to a person? Wer hat Zeit, wer hat Koyach, there's a ein Shlomil, noch a Shlomazel, noch a Nudnik. But the Baal Shem Tov said that a neshama comes down to the world for 70, 80 years just to do one favor to a Jew, begashmius, and especially beruchnius, physically or spiritually. It means your neshama could come down 70, 80, 90, 100, 120 years. Put on tefillin for 100 years, learn Torah for 100 years, daven Maida for 100 years, and do unbelievable things. And then somebody needs a favor. I don't have time, I'm not interested. And you've lost the whole reason your neshama came into the world. The whole shlichus, the whole purpose. Doirish Tov Liyamai. Mordechai never forgot that. Don't become so big that you forget that the greatest thing you can do in this world is to do a favor to another Jew, to help somebody. Doirish toiv. And not only if the person asks and begs, for sure. Doirish, think about it, look for an opportunity. A Yid wakes up in the morning, Hashem blessed you with money, He blessed you with success, He blessed you with charm. You wake up in the morning, think, how can I help another person today? How can I do a favor to another person today? Before I go to sleep at night, you're going under the blanket, you say Shema. Before you close your eyes and say Hamapil, stop and say, did I do a favor to somebody today? Did I help a person today? And if you didn't, before you say Hamapil, send a text, at least a text. I'm thinking about you. What can I do for you? The Jew goes to sleep at night, and the whole day he didn't think about one person. He didn't do a favor to one person. He said, what do you mean? You know what I'm doing? I'm building a whole city. I'm building yeshivas, kollel, museums, shuls, communities. I'm doing ich tu, ich geh, ich far. He was the prime minister of the Persian Empire. He was Gadol HaYehudim. He was Ratzil Reivechav. Every night Mordechai thought, how can I do a favor to Ayid, to another person? You wake up in the morning, you go to sleep at night. I want to help another person. That's why my neshama came down. How can I help a person? And it's not people, it's one person. One person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people. But before you close your eyes, you have to ask, today, did I help somebody? Did I have the schus to do a favor to a person? Physically, financially, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. And if not, don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep. Send the email, make the call, send the text, or whatever it means to do a favor to another person. What else can we want from Mordechai? Azah Hesped, Mishnah Lamelech HaChashverosh, Gadol HaYehudim, Ratzil Reivechav, Doirish Tov Li'amoy. What's the climax? What's the climax of the whole Megillah? The ultimate conclusion. V'doiver shalom l'chol zaroi. He spoke peacefully to all of his children. Zaroi. A moment earlier we spoke about Amoy, his people, his nation. And now we speak about Zaroi. Zaroi means his children, his seed, his descendants. Zera means his seed, his mishpach, his family. One of the greatest mistakes that great people make is the world loves them. But there's one little group of people who don't know them. You know who? Their children. The world adores them. The world sees them as heroes. They walk in, Yamim al Yemei Melech Taisif, or whatever the right niggin for this person is. You are a hero. You're a hero in the eyes of maybe dozens, hundreds, thousands, maybe millions, maybe one day billions. But your own children? Please, don't talk to me about my father. Do me a favor. Mordechai was the prime minister of the Persian Empire. He saved Klal Yisrael. Gadol HaYehudim, Ratzil Reivechav, Doirish Tov Li'amoy. He got a call 11 o'clock at night. Somebody was in prison. Somebody needed a favor. He was there. But for his own children, he can't be there. He's taken by the world. He's too big. He's too busy. He's too holy. He's doing God's work. He's not selfish. But for his children, he's not there. He can't become a simple person, a simple father, a simple mother, a simple brother, a simple sister. You know what the greatest achievement of Mordechai was? After everything, v'doiver shalom l'chol zaroi. He knew how to speak to every one of his children. And not just speak to them with shalom, with love, with peace, with affection. They had the best relationship. They had the most peaceful relationship. When they were in the presence of Mordechai, they felt at peace. when he was in their presence, he felt at peace. That's the greatest tribute to Mordechai. And sometimes the greatest challenge of many, many people. They don't know how to be there for their children. They don't know how to be emotionally present for their children. Somebody told me the other day that her father was a celebrated pedagogue. He was like an educator of generations, built schools, trained teachers, trained principals, and he was like a major leader in a huge Jewish community, like a legend. So I asked her, how was he as a father? She said, we didn't have a father. And she told me at his funeral, a few thousand people came. And she was shocked. She asked her sister, why did they all come? And they started to tell them stories during Shiva and the funeral. They told them about their father, what he did for me, and he saved my life, and he saved my children, and he guided me, and he saved my marriage, and he found me a job, and he brought me back. And then they realized he was an unbelievable man. But he really didn't have the time and the mental space to give that attention to his children. And it's not about judgment. Sometimes people get so caught up and they think that the children will get it by osmosis, you know? You'll come home, Shabbos, you'll eat kugel with them, and somehow they'll get it. They know that I love them, I'm their father. They mean well. It's not always they don't mean ill. They mean very often well. But they don't realize that their children are real people. And sometimes the children are more sensitive than everybody else, and they need something. They don't need the hero. They don't need the great person. They need the simple father, the very simple father, to connect on a very basic, primal, emotional level. So after everything, Mordechai was a prime minister of Egypt, prime minister of the Persian Empire. Mela. It teaches you how Yiddishkeit looks at a person. You would think the climax of Mordechai is a Jew, a Yid, a Talmud Chacham, a Gaon Ador, a Rebbe, a Tzaddik, became the prime minister. What's greater? Nah, that's the first thing. We're very proud of you, Mordechai. But that's not where it ends. We're proud of you. We love it. We cherish it. We're very grateful that Mordechai's in the palace. But that's where it begins. It's not where it ends. Even deeper is, Gadol HaYehudim, Jews respect you. Not only Goyim respect you. That Goyim respect you is great. Jews respect you. And what type of Jews? Yehudim, not Mayafisnikas, not Jews who are scared of their own shadow. Jews respect you. Even deeper is, Rotzi L'Roi V'Echav. Your organic world is the world of Torah and Yerushalayim. Deeper, Doirish Tov L'Yamai. Doirish Tov L'Yamai. You get up every day, you want to do a favor to another person. But what's the deepest? What's the ultimate? What's the climax? Doiver Shalom L'Chol Zarai. That Mordechai knew how to be a father. Mordechai knew how to be there for his children. In a way, it's deeper than everything else. You know why? Because that required for Mordechai to be simple, to be humble, to be real. And over here, you don't say Doirish Tov. Could have said Doirish Tov L'Yamai L'Chol Zarai. He looked for the welfare of his nation and his children. No. Doirish Tov L'Yamai, he looked for the welfare of everybody. He wanted everybody to be good. He wanted everybody to have good, and he'll do whatever it takes. But then there's something special. The Doiver Shalom L'Chol Zarai. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin Kov Zayin, Tinik v'Yetzer v'Isha Tehei Min Mekarev is a small doicha. There has to be a special kiruv. The right arm, the strong arm is the right arm, has to triumph in the relationship with a child. V'Doiver Shalom L'Chol Zarai. There was such a sense of shleimus, of wholeness, of wholesomeness, of perfection, of peace, of love, of affection. L'Chol Zarai. Not some of his children. There are always the children who go through the system nicely. It's very easy to be peaceful with them. They come home for dinner. What do you learn today? Oh, we learned a new Mishnah. What do you learn? Amachaya. V'doiver shalom l'chol zarai. All. What's all? Some children put you through the ringer, as some of you know very well. Some children challenge you. Some children have completely different needs. They're completely in a different world. It's very easy to say, this is my model, this is my box. I'm a parent, I'm a teacher, this is how we educate you. You fit in, great. You don't fit in, go find another house, go find another father, go find another school. So Mordechai says, no. V'doiver shalom l'chol zarai. Purim is not a day. Purim is a serious day. It's not a day of partying and this. That's for other days. Purim is a serious day. It's a deep day. It's a day of. It's not tipsa. You understand? It's a very special day. Purim. It's not a day of hefkedus. People think Purim is a Halloween. Purim is a very deep day. It's not. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so implement it. Try to implement. That's the chiddush of Mordechai. V'doiver shalom l'chol zarai. There was no child left behind. If there's a child who needs something, Mordechai will be there. This is the child who doesn't fit in. Mordechai will expand his horizons and make sure that this child feels the shalom, feels the sense of love and peacefulness, and knows that he or she can reach their shleimus, their shalom, their perfection through this relationship. So in this last pasuk of the Megillah, we have a 5-step program of how the Megillah summarizes the great personality and life of Mordechai HaTzadik as a template, as a paradigm for each of our lives. L'chaim, 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 l'chaim. Ein kiddush ala b'makam sodaya. It's your turn. Look at the Kenegans, the Chfart Purim. So nicht Yom Kippur, it's a Purim.
Oh my.
Reb Shalom Mordechai. Was hat Snei Alachas im Hashem Alakecha? Komm zum Mizrach. Last year was the first Purim after the second Purim. Zet zich weg, Farbrengen bist. You're here a whole time.
Chaim. Yiddishaftik, you sure we should get out of prison? I came here to Pasha Farbrengen and hear from Rabbi Jacobson, but he gave me the mic. So I'll take a little bit. Farbrengen, I will share a story I heard from Rabbi Groner. He once came to Farbrengen Shabbos, and there's a story that happened on Purim, and there's the Grada story, which has a lot of And I can understand mice are pale. And that's not luftige mice. What happened was like this. The Rebbe was Farbrengen one Purim. It must have been in the early years. It was, I guess, I don't know, whatever it was. There was a year, I think my son said he found a sikh on Tafshin Yud Beis. Tafshin Yud Beis is 1952. So the Rebbe was Farbrengen Purim by night. And there was a year that was very, very inspired by the Rebbe was talking. He didn't understand the word was going on, because he didn't understand Yiddish, but from the ganze Tzir, the Neshama heard, and the Neshama heard. So by the singing, he goes over to the Rebbe and says, L'chaim. He pushed himself over. And he says, L'chaim. So the Rebbe said, Rabbi, you're inspiring, whatever he said to the Rebbe. So the Rebbe asked him, what's your name? So he said a name in English, I remember his name. So the Rebbe asked him, what's your Hebrew name? He says, I don't know. His parents were poor and they couldn't send him to Yiddish yeshiva. So he sent him to public school. So he didn't know. So the Rebbe said, okay, so your name is Yitzchak. He gave him Yitzchak. Then the Rebbe asked him, you know who Yitzchak was? He says, no. So he said, I'll tell you, Yitzchak was a well digger. What's a well digger? A well digger is someone who digs through the earth for water. It doesn't bring the water, it makes a hole, right? The answer was on the Neshama, every that's in the Neshama. The well digger uncovers, takes away the dirt from the living water that's on the bottom. And that's what Yitzchak was. Yitzchak was the union of uncovering Gvura. He uncovered the issue in the Neshama. He worked on himself. So Yitzchak, you have a name. He's telling him, you're Yitzchak, a well digger. So you have your thing in the life is to uncover the neshama that you have already there. You don't have to create anything new. You have it. So it's wonderful. So then the Rebbe says, it's okay. So now it's 2:00 in the morning. Right? Actually, right now it's 2:00 in the morning also. And tomorrow you're going to go to work. You're going to meet a Jew in your work office. You'll meet a Jew. So you, as a well digger, you're going to uncover the neshama. Another Yid, you're going to ask him to put on tefillin with him. He says to him, Rabbi, I don't put on tefillin myself. So that's the point of the story. There's two things. First of all, what is the other one shuldik? What is the other one at fault? Because you don't put on tefillin. He has to put on tefillin. Why are you busy with yourself? The second thing, he says to him, like this, every single lead, I think the key, the story is here, the Eibishter created the world in the way of a mashpia. Every person is a mashpia and a makabel. Every person is a mashpia, he has to he gives forward to somebody else, but makabel he receives from somebody else. In other words, every person has, and the Eibishter created another person who is like you, so the one you could be mashpia is specific to you, so you never know the one who you're meeting could be the one specifically that is your person that you can be mashpia on. So if you meet a guy in the morning and you see, maybe Rabbi said that you can be mashpia more than I can, and therefore you should do it. You should talk to him, and you should be try to put on film. I'll upon him. So the story, this is where the story ends, but the lesson is very, very powerful, and it goes in. What reminded me of the story Rabbi Jacobson was talking before about every single Yid, and the Neshama comes down to the world for 70, 80 years to do a favor for another Yid. You never know, this could be the favor. And gerade, I was once staying by Farbrengen. I was a young guy then, I was a young man, and the Rebbe was going through the whole union of Avis Yisrael. And he said, and he brought this word from the Mordechai, that the name of Hashem, that the Neshama can come down and live for 70, 80 years to do a favor for another Jew. And the Rebbe used this story as inspiration. He says, so next time somebody, but apart the plach, he says, okay, practically next time he comes to you and asks you for a favor, it could be that this is the favor he asked you for, that you came down to the life for, and maybe that should inspire you to do it. I remember standing there Farbrengen, and I was puzzled. First I agreed that this is your whole mission in life. For sure, this will inspire you. On the other hand, right away the stories of people doing the position of life and then they pass away. I was a little bit too young to pass away. So I'm still too young to pass away, but every year everybody's too young to pass away. The Mashiach has to come. So I suddenly started grasping at the concept that I was saying that it's supposed to inspire me. That if somebody comes to a favor, this could be the whole purpose of why I was created. From them, I just want to say to us, verkehrt. If this is the purpose, I should push it off for another while. I was struggling with it. And the Rabbi was talking. And when you're standing in front of a teacher, you're supposed to block out all your thoughts so you can absorb, right? That's the key. That's the key to be able to absorb. I was trying to do that, but I was troubled because I couldn't. So I put it on this. I was fighting myself. Lady will figure it out. Now you're being told this is the way you're supposed to think. This is the right way. And I try to put myself back into the Farbrengen. I remember the Rebbe had a pause there. I remember the Farbrengen. You're pretty good on that, no? The Rebbe had a long pause. I got back to the Farbrengen. The Rebbe was quiet. It was almost as he's answering my question, because as soon as I got back into Farbrengen, the Rebbe continued like this. He said that and then when the Eibishter sees that you fulfill your purpose so beautifully, he will give you many more years to do more and more Torah mitzvahs. And suddenly the answer was very clear. And first the answer is Pashat, that when don't worry about it. If you do, if your purpose is to do this purpose, doesn't mean you're dying tomorrow or today. What it means is, verkehrt, you're doing your purpose, and you're filling your purpose, you get to the Nachzaton, you get to the Weizzaton. So this is a good lesson. So for me, this was this actually kept me going through all the years. I figured that this is my purpose, I can't have a lot more years to go through. I have to fill the purpose. But the Meister says, you have to learn to think like a Yid. That's the word. A lot of times, we think like a Goy, and then the Goyish way of thinking, and you hear a Meister, this is your purpose, and when Mele has to Shemera, that you fulfill your purpose, you're going to forget. You're thinking, but the Eibush is not out to get you, the Eibush is here to help you, the Eibush loves you, the Eibush wants to help you. You did your purpose, why should they kill you? Forget it. The Eibush will give you many more years to fulfill your purpose. So this is a word from Purim. But I wanted to share with you a Maisa from the place called prison. Without that doesn't go. We have to share some Maisa. So I'll tell you a Purim Dike Maisa. There was a guy in prison. His name was Bird. He was Bird. Why was he called Bird? Because he liked to draw birds. It so happens to be, I didn't notice at the time, there's 110, 120 guys in this building. This guy happened to be a Jew. I didn't know he was a Yid. One of the Yidden told me that there's a Yid in this place. He doesn't want to be identified as a Yid. Talk about a purpose in life. Who knows? This bird. So, over many months, I finally got it out of the Yid who told me there's a Yid who doesn't want to be identified as a Yid. He finally pointed him out to me. It was Mr. Bird. But he said that this guy, B'shum Eifen, B'ponim Eifen, does not want to identify with anything Jewish. No, since when did that stop anybody? So I waited for a moment. I say to him, and there's a room they used to iron the clothes. I say to him that room, and one day he walks in to iron his clothes. So I ask him, Mr. Bird, are you Jewish? Sagt mir, yeah. He got in the conversation. He's Jewish. He's from Chicago. But he was very wild as a young child. His mother was very upset with him. He went into the streets and he became whatever he became of him. Became. Yes, officially. Good. But he wouldn't carry on the conversation further. And then came Purim. But I talk about Avos Yisrael. So Purim, the best way to make a friendship, I put together a ganze pekel of smallness. I came over to him and I say, Shalom Aleichem. Today is Purim. Happy Purim. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. Haram Shinu. And today is Shalom Aleichem. Here, take a package. Haki deny a ganze pekel from Essen. So, in prison, yeah. So he takes it. And then he has to do the mitzvah Shalom Aleichem. I can't just give it to him. So I say, okay, now give it to me. He looks at me puzzled. He just gave it to me. That's Mr. Tzarik. So I told him, it's a mice, a mitzvah, for Yisrael. You're supposed to give me a present. He was confused, gave it to me, and then I gave it back to him. And then I pop it on him, and I say to him, okay, tonight we're having a little get-together, the Jewish community, the Jewish community is having a little Sudas Purim to party tonight. You want to come? He became oh, you see? I told you. Now you want, take it back. I don't want to talk to you. Everything got it. I said, okay, leave me alone. So I said, I didn't mean to bother you. Take it, keep it, enjoy it. But he was a type of guy, he didn't want to know nothing. Anytime I invited him to come to Pesach, some Seder, every Goyim wanted to come to the Seder. Every Goyim Shavishim from the Yishkeit. So over the year, I tried to hear in his gate nicht. Purim comes again a second time. So this time I called to him again. I put together a package. So you remember, last year I came to give a present. He remembered. And this time it seemed this chesed touched him. It touched him. He took it, went through the mitzvah shalchmanas, and then he says to me, very serious or something, he said, come on, I want to show you something. He brings me into his cell. And over there, in the medium security prison, when your date of release is kept secret because a lot of times they pull a prank on a person who was getting released the next day. They try to unrelease him. He brings me into his cell. He shows me the calendar. He has a circle, date circled next Tuesday. Is circled, and he tells me I'm being released next week. As I saw it from friend's brother. Trachte für sich, no ganze Jahr went through. I never put on film with him. Im Yachshiv say, Mr. Bird, you have to put on film. We met each other. It seemed like he softened up. He softened up. What chesed is, but through chesed you can get through everything. He says to me, "Okay, I'll put on." We went into the cell. He put on film. He put on a yarmulke. It was a Friday. That wasn't Purim. I put on film a day later, 2 days later, whatever it was. I put a yarmulke on his head. I put on film. You could see the emotion. I told him, "Vein afila." He remembers his mother. It was a very emotional time for him. And then he had his yarmulke on his head. So I tell you, yarmulke said he walked out. This is a guy who never wanted to be identified as a Yid. He walked out into the ganze chabura mit a yarmulke. I wouldn't take it off his head. He walked out with the yarmulke, and mittlerweile he's comfortable with it. And later he tells me, I put on film on Friday, and then again, Sunday, Monday before he left, I bought him some more stuff he needed. Clothes. He was a very poor guy. He didn't have money for clothes. He says, Shalom, you're the only guy who showed me kindness in all these years. I want to bring him from the Abbas Yisrael, from Purim. Purim is smallness. And this is what touched him. This is what brought him around. This is what made him a bisla mensch. And what was it? It was Avos Chinam, Parshat showing in a Liebschaft Zweiten mit a Schmeichel. And he said, you're the only guy ever, because I was showing him kindness, he's leaving, and I still showed him kindness. So this is a story, a million stories like this. A story durchgelebt. And I feel as a matzev, he wants to hide himself from Yiddishkeit. If you come to him with Avos Yisrael, with Avos Yisrael, you never know. Funkt me, I could be the guy that can talk to him, nobody else can talk to him, and durchgebrochen. There was mamash the year before I left, before I got freed. Yeah, I didn't know yet. He left there, Purim, and next Hanukkah I was out of there. And I want to finish with one more word. I want to finish with a word, not a story. If you walk into any Lubavitcher Farbrengen and Purim, you hear a song by Hibim Yachashvedish or Achashvedish. Always wondered, maybe you can shed some light. Why is everybody so enthralled with Achashvedish? Ha mehelech meheidu v'yatkushava v'yasef. And I say over and over. You ever see it? You walk another shul singing like Yudim, Ma'isayra, V'nahapachu. Blabavitches, V'ibim Yachashvedish, oh, Achashvedish. What is that? I say, I'm thinking Achashvedish. Yeah? It's one of the questions you live through. You ask, nobody knows the answer anyways. That's the bottom line. And this Purim, I was living with the answer. Because really, the Rabbi actually gives the answer in different format, but it works out exactly like this. A Yid can think, as is as if hacked in a prison, one guy out of 1,000 guys. Was is Negeya if he will put on film today, he won't put on film today. Was Negeya, don't sit es nicht. Wenn Negeya, in a big world, because the trachten, there's 7 billion people. Yeah? And the Eberste, ganze Welt, a few million Yidden, that's the whole purpose of the world. Ich hab da amol the Amolik comes to Yidden and wants to cool him down. What are you so excited about? You think 7 billion people and you are important, right? That's the Meister, right? That's the ultimate question. Like I was talking, the question is not if God exists or God doesn't exist. I was talking to a girl that has Meister. She doesn't believe. I wish I had the belief that you have. You said you have the belief. Elamai, your problem is you don't believe that when you do a mitzvah, Hashem cares. That's what the real problem is. You don't believe that Avdir b'shvil nivra'ilam, that the Eibishter created you for a purpose. So Rabbi Rashayla, me, wer bin ich? And he threw me into prison in a loch. Was habe ich zu tun da? Yeah. So this is the Vahiv Mecha Shverish, and this is why the Lubavitch are so busy with this pasuk, because for was tak hebt of the Megillah Vahiv Mecha Shverish. What is tak Vahiv Mecha Shverish? The Cheresh sta ish Yehudi hayi b'Shushan, Shmei Mordechai liege stachen show the Gewaltkeit from Mordechai. He didn't. I got to tell you something. I found out today. I didn't know this. Somebody told me today that one of the lawyers that are working on my case, if I wouldn't know before, I wouldn't talk to him. He tells me he couldn't understand why I made a whole deal of Miyama Consists. What am I fighting with them about? Was machst du ganze Tararamke? Yeah? I found it right. But Fakir, Dafko Mordechai leichede yishtachave. Dafke, this is the reason why I didn't get out of Golus. Because if Mordechai would be yishtachave, then he wouldn't be masakin davere. If you see the world properly, if you see the world with the Eibush sees the world, you realize that there was an Aveda that Eden was Mesachel Tzelem. And Mordechai, he was Mesakin Aveda. So to blame Mordechai is Mamash so shallow, you don't see what's going on over here. Punkt verkehrt. Imagine Mordechai standing here, 100 people. This is the prison. Imagine, and this Jewish boy, tut alles an verkehrt. Al mach azay, geht azay. Everybody goes to get food like this, macht azay. This is a koponim. So Vahiv Mecha Shverish, what's the Maisa? The Eibush is teaching us how he works. That's the point. There could be Achashverish, and Achashverish, who Achashverish, HaMelech, Mehedivat Kosh, a world leader. Sheva Vesem, Umei Medina, he had 127 countries under his control. How did he get it? He got it as playing Monopoly. He fought for it in Mechomes. Mechomes Adiris, it was Mechomet, Paras, and Modai, and Bovel. The whole world was turning upside down. And to get to that point, so you wonder to yourself, what is this all about? Dr. Lebshe tells you in the Torah, why? You used to listen, Achashverish was like king for 7 years. Countries, and he had to have a thing, and he made a party. What is all this about? Because in order the Eden should have a ness of Purim. So the answer is, yeah, that's the Eibishter works. The Eibishter has a whole great world with 7 billion people. That's not a question. This is figure out why. But this Eibishter tells you in the Megillah that the Eibishter works. There could be 7 billion people, but what's the purpose of 7 billion people? That from Eden's of an Yeshua. And that's the thing. So anytime, kommt der Machshove, the mind of Keminne, who cares? The mind verkehrt. Nein, the ganze Tararam, the ganze Welt, everything you see around you, is dafke for this mitzvah, the Chaim, and the Eibishter mentioned we should be able to celebrate Purim in Yerushalayim, in Akedesh, noch eins.
Amen. Amen.
Chaim.
Chaim Lebracha.
No, Rav grape juice.
Herst. Chavis Alavavas, Shara Betachim.
That's the Meister. But Shara Betachim comes the first Shara. It's not for Sharichot. I tell people Shara Sharichot when it's ganz so zittert. When they get ganz mental
Complicated.
Not complicated.
Shara Bechina, yeah.
Shara Bechina, they're okay with. Shara Yichot, they get nervous. I got to tell you a story. The guy today is free. I was doing Chavis Alvavis, Shara Betachim. And the Rebbe was aided. Many people came to Farbrengen, Parnosa, Sheduchim. The Rebbe told them how do you strengthen your betachon? You have to learn about it. You want to keep Shabbos. You learn Shabbos. You have to Shara Betachim. Hakoponim, so I learned Shara Betachim. At the end of Shara Betachim, he says, In Perek Zayin, he says, if you want to know what hurts bitochen, if you didn't learn Shara Yichud, and Shara Bechin, and Shara Veselikim. No, I'm a Kabbalah Seilnik. He says, I got to learn it. I'll be Chaveges learning. Right? Shara Yichud. So then we had a group of guys. There was a time, there was maybe 18, 20, 22 Eden over there at one time, and maybe 10, 15 of them were Shem Tere Mitzvahs. I don't know if you know the Maisa with the Gittin. There was a Maisa with the Gittin. So a lot of guys fell into the, 5 guys from the story fell into this Otisville medium security. Some guys fell into the camp, some guys fell into Dix. There was an embassy Bilbo on Eden. So I made a share with these guys in Shar B'Tachim. I finished Shar B'Tachim, and I sensed that these guys are picking this up as positive thinking. And B'Tachim is not only positive. The Chetzenis of B'Tachim is positive thinking. Of the Pnimis of the Rebbe explains is an Aveda. To understand Einim Milvadai, there's nothing else but Eibush, Tahashlach Hashem Yoavcho, Vuicha Kalecho. B'Tachim is not positive thinking, because if it was positive thinking, you go into Barnes and Nobles, and you can buy yourself 50 books. I'll tell you about positive thinking. Am I right? Maybe 100 places. B'Tachim means realizing that Einim Milvadai, and understanding also what it's Agamzul Tevas, is good. So I started learning with these guys Shara Yichud. This is Maisha Kachoya. We're sitting around a table for every Friday night. We had a shir, and we got into there's a Perek there, Perek Zayin, and he gets into 7 logical explanations why the Eibishter has to be one. It can't be 2. First, he established it has to be an Eibishter, there has to be a creator. And then he moves it up. It's only 3-step. It's a 3-step program, as they would say today. First, he tells you there's a creator. The creator is one, and then he teaches you what one means. That's all it is all about. I don't know what to be scared about, but that's what he talks about. So after he establishes there's one Eibishter, in Perek Zayin, he gets into how do you know the Eibishter is only one? There can't be 2. He brings 7 logical arguments, explanations why that is true, and we're learning them. 1, 2, 3, 4, I think it was 5, I don't know what it was. Mitamol, one of the guys there, gives Hazetz on the table, Mamash Hazetz, from Tsar. And he cries out loud to everybody, why didn't they teach me this in Yeshiva? These were Yeshiva boys, these 5 guys. What are you talking about? He grew up in Yeshiva, and then later he needed Parnassus, he went to college, and in college, they taught him philosophy, and one of the philosophy arguments they gave him was flawed, as a surprise, and he didn't know the answer. Now that he learns what he's saying over here in Shara Yichud, he realized they lied to him, and he starts explaining me exactly what they taught him. I forgot what it was. I never really cared about what they say, but what they taught him and what he says over here, that makes perfect sense. The person lied to him, and at Chazei they to chapet ad insof. This guy, particular guy, if it was this mice, let's see if it was, we had tiny shirim also, whatever it was, this guy in Tvis hat sich übergekehrt, sein V'napach geworden, der ganzen heilige Yid, but I saw, one thing I saw, am daf poshet verstehen, einmal vada is Amunah we have. But together with the Amunah, we have to bring it down as much as we can in Seichel. And Rabbi Jacobson can explain more about that than me. And well, this is a mamash amaisa. It's a trask. Why didn't they teach me this in yeshiva? Chaim.
apecho arayim v'latay tilosecha kecha lekeinu apecho arayim v'latay Back to Chufam V'Sum. Rabbi Solomon, Eikeinu, Apecha, Arayim Elata, Zechai, Eikeinu, Apecha, Arayim Elata. Apecho, Lorayim Elata, Eisei Hey, Lekeinu, Apecho, Lorayim Elata, Zechai, Lekeinu, Apecha, L'arayim Elata. Hey, 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 Lekeinu, Apecha, L'arayim Elata. Nisilosecha, Lekecha, Lekeinu, Apecho, L'arayim Elata. Oh, Le'aricha Apecha, L'arayim Elata. Shuttus is makif, madav pnimi. Zeh rak or makif, tzarich pnimi. אתה מבין? אתה יודע החילוק במקיף ופנימי. אתה יודע החילוק? הוא יסביר לך החילוק. זה המקיף, צריך פנימי. כשלשוטס זה נשגנוג. לחיים, just a little wine. Just some wine. Could bring a little wine. Chaim, enough. Chaim, Chaim, Tovim al Shalom. Chaim. It's interesting, Mordechai had to make a Yom Tov. Mordechai and Esther, they made a Yom Tov of Ada Lo Yada. Nobody ever heard of such a Yom Tov before. It's Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot. Later there was Hanukkah. Big days, tremendous days. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Aseret Tshuva, Elul. Nobody ever heard of a Yom Tov Ada Lo Yada. Ada Lo Yada. Verkehrt. Imein Das, Havdalah Minayin, every day, 3 times a day, Ata Choynein, L'Adam Das, we ask Hashem for Das. Chochmah, mit Binne, mit Haskel, mit Das. Yerushalmi says, Lama Tiknu Havdalah B'Choynein Adas, why do we say Ata Chinantanu in the 4th brach of Shemon Esrei? It says, Imein Das, Havdalah Minayin. If there's no Das, how could you be Mavdal, Ben Kodesh, L'Chol, Ben Ur, L'Choshech, Ben Yisrael, L'Amim, Ben Toiv, Renah, Lahavdil, Ben HaKodesh, Ben HaChol, Ben HaTorah, Ben HaTameh, Shsuya Yaya, Nichnesu LeMikdash, Zachurban. What happens afterwards? Hashem tells us, it's next week's parsha, Shmini, Hashem tells Aaron, Yayin v'Sheicher, Al Teish, B'voyim Al HaKodesh, you have to have Lahavdil, Ben HaTameh, Ben HaTorah. It's brought in Shulchan Aruch and Hilchos Yom Tov, that Bezdin used to send out shluchim every Yom Tov, you know? Security. To protect, there shouldn't be too much drinking, too much hululus. Yeah. Bezdin, you says, steht in Shulchan Aruch. In Hilchos Yom Tov. Shulchan Aruch Harav, he's meirech on it in Hilchos Yom Tov, that Bezdin used to send out shluchim every Yom Tov to make sure that it shouldn't get to a matzav of hululus, of frivolousness. Yom Kippur, comes Purim, Chayev Inish, L'B'Sumah B'Purya Adal Yada, B'Sa Takana. That was the takana, mishta v'simcha, not stam mishta, but adul yada. So the whole yisoid of Purim is a different yisoid. So there's 3 ways of understanding it. One way is, it's brought to Ramah brings in Shulchan Aruch and Hilchos Purim, that to be Mekayim adul yada, you should drink a little more than you used to, and you'll get tired. V'yiradim, and you'll fall asleep, and you'll be Mekayim adul yada. That's for one category of Jews. The only way they could be Mekayim Adal Yada is during when they're sleeping, when they're up, is not Shayach Adal Yada, but Chfart Yidden, Chfart Purim. So he says, drink a little more than you used to. And today there's another 8 you don't have to drink. You could sit down by a shir or by a drasha, and automatically you fall asleep. So Yidden are Mekayim Adal Yada all year around. Daf Yomi, Mishnah Brura, Ashir Gemara, Ashir Mishnayos, Ashir Chumash, any sermon, any rabbi, any Shabbos, any Yom Tov, you look around in shul, the Olam Shlaft, even before you have the Kiddush Club, they want to be Mekayim Adal Yada in a different knife. But the rest of the Jewish people, mainstream Jews, are Mekayim Adal Yada, Midday Shabbos b'Shabbat, Midday Shabbos b'Chod, Midday Chodesh b'Chodshim, Midday Yom Tov. Yeah, the Yom Tov, and those who do it 7 days a week, Mekom, Meshlaft, and so forth. I used to give a shir in Borough Park Sundays for a few years, quite a few years. We went through the whole Tanya L'Kutei Amarim. It took us 6 years on 16th Avenue in Heichel Menachem. So there was a Yid, he would sit against me. There were only 2 comfortable chairs in the room. I had one and he had the other one with handles. The moment I would start, he would fall asleep. Come out 6 years. I would start and he would sleep and he would snore. And Every week when I finished, he would come over to me and he would say, today's shir was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Every week. It was 1 week, aber sich nicht gekannt einhalten. Lo yachal Yosef l'isapik. Haman v'yisapak Haman. But I couldn't contain myself anymore. I said, I don't understand. The moment I open my mouth, you sleep. You snore, you sleep. You don't hear a word. Why do you tell me afterwards? He says, you don't understand. I'm talking about my dreams during your shir. He says, my dreams are amazing. He says, I say it was an amazing shir. He says, I went into my dream. He was very honest. So that's one adalayada. Yiradu mishikru searcher. Then there are those, they don't want to be yoitze with the heter of sleeping. They want mamish adalayada. So Mela became a seder that people drink a lot on Purim. They drink a lot. So in the first 2 hours, 3 hours, we had a noise. People, they run, they drink. It's a heter to drink and get wild. And people are sleeping all over the place, and some people are here, and some people are on the couch and under the couch. But that has nothing to do with Purim. This is a kinderspiel. This is basically a person has a lot of frustrations, an instinct, so he lets it out. So Purim, there's a free way. Everybody could smoke and everybody could drink. That doesn't do nothing to do with Purim. Then there's the real Adalayada. The real Adalayada, the Chayiv Inish L'Psumah B'Puri Adalayada, the drinking is only the chitzonius of it. It's a state of the nefesh that a Jew reaches a place that's Layad, L'Mayla Min Adas, higher than Das. Was heißt, the question is, how could you b'chlal tell a Jew you shouldn't know the difference of Arer Haman and Baruch Mordechai? If you don't know the difference, so why are you drinking? What's the celebration of Purim? If Haman and Mordechai are identical, so we could close shop. What do we need Purim for? The whole Purim is because Arer Haman and Baruch Mordechai. If you take a drinking to a point that you don't know Ben Arer Haman and Baruch Mordechai, so then stop drinking. It's the catch-22 situation. In Pesachim, the Gemara says that the Chachamim allow you to do B'dikas Chametz even in the middle of Pesach. If you didn't do B'dikas Chametz before Pesach, you do B'dikas Chametz in the middle of Pesach. For the Gemara, you may come to eat it. You're going to find Chametz, you may come to eat it. So Rabbi Yehuda holds. So the Gemara answers, no, you won't come to eat it. Why? Because Kol Atzmai. The whole reason you're finding the Chametz is to get rid of it. So when you're looking for chametz to get rid of it, you're not going to come to eat it. Stam, you find chametz, you may eat it. But here, the whole purpose is to get rid of it. The whole purpose is to get rid of it. You're not going to come to eat it. The whole purpose why you're drinking. Adalayada is why? To celebrate Purim. What's the celebration of Purim? Oh, you say Vezbanov, Talu Alaitz. So you're drinking, and through the drinking, L'Kavod Purim, what are you going to come to? That Arer Haman and Baruch Mordechai are the same. May cut the dinner pirchi, you're uprooting the whole Purim. Stop drinking. No, zu verstehen das, darf man sagen L'chaim. L'chaim, L'chaim, L'chaim. L'chaim, L'chaim. So one of the explanations is, the Balatanya explains, very deep word. Adelayada ben Arer Haman Baruch Mordechai means Adelayada ben Arer Haman Baruch Mordechai. The difference between Arer Haman and Baruch Mordechai is not based anymore on Yoda. It's not based only on Yoda. Adelayada ben Arer Haman Baruch Mordechai. The distinction between Arer Haman and Baruch Mordechai could be two ways. It could come from a place of Yoda. A person uses his mind, his das, his calculation, and he comes to a conclusion. Arer Haman and Baruch Mordechai. The chiddush of Purim is it gets nizgala. What gets revealed is that even in his etzem nefesh, the core of his soul comes out, and he's in a matzav of lo yada, of not knowing. What comes out? The difference of Arer Haman and Baruch Mordechai. The difference between them is not based on yada. Adelo yada ben Arer Haman Baruch Mordechai. It's not that he's yada ben Arer Haman Baruch Mordechai. even when he's a place where his etzem comes out, beyond das, beyond seichel, beyond cheshboines, beyond calculations, from his etzem, the core comes out, and there's a distinction between Haman and Baruch Mordechai. The distinction is not just superficial, and it's not just on a level of yada. The distinction is much deeper than yada. It's not that the difference is only on a level of das. In your deepest core, which is beyond das, over there comes out the truth that by a Jew is Haman and Baruch Mordechai. What does this mean in a person's life? For this, a person has to be able to have a tfiseps, a hergish, in that which is lo yada, in that which is beyond his das, that which is higher than his das. How can a person have a connection with that which is higher than his das? A person is the chabar das. A mensch is the chabar das. But that's only a limited part of a person. The real person is the person of lo yada. Beyond that. So a whole year, Taka, the focus is yada, das, and learning and understanding. Once a year we say, the atzmius comes out. The infinite core comes out. It's beyond das. Das, legabe that, is a kinderspiel. Much deeper than das. The etzem ha-nefesh. Atzmius ha-nefesh. The core of the core is beyond seichel. It's higher than seichel. Keser. Pnimius ha-keser. Even deeper. Yechidush ha-benefesh. And over there is Haman and Baruch Mordechai. They say a marshal. Glad that the marshal comes from, I heard it, b'shem Reb Nosson Wachtfeugel. Was the mashgiach in Lakewood for many years. I heard it in his name, that there was once a Meiser Shahaya, there was a Shatchen, and he was having a hard time making a shidduch. You know, stated for Rabbi and Eibshes that a Shatchen is an acronym, Sheker Doiver, Kesef Neutel. Shatchen. He says lies, he spews lies, and he takes money. Because he has to sell the chosin to the Kala, which is never easy. And he has to sell sometimes the Brooklyn Bridge, some Shadchanim sell also the Williamsburg Bridge, and the Mahadrins sell also the George Washington, and the Tappan Zee, while they're at it. So this Shadchan was having a very hard time. He's trying to bring together the chosin and the Kala. It was not going. They didn't want. And he sold her a bridge, and he sold him a bridge. Finally they met. So he calls and he negotiates and he says, but you'd have to try again and try again, and they try again. And he's pushing it from every angle. He's selling them the b'choide and many more b'choides. And finally, he got it. He was a charismatic fellow. He was a balchush. He got it. It worked. It worked. They had to get over a lot of stumbling blocks. They got engaged with Shatayv Mutzlachas, Mazel Tov, Motze Isha, Motze Tov, Yofik Rotzen, Mashem HaTov, and mit Gestalt HaChuppe, mit HaChasana, gewaldig, beautiful. The wedding finishes, Keminig Oilam, the Chassan and the Kala go home. They come to their apartment, and who's there? The Shadchan. Shalom Aleichem, was tust du da? He says, I don't have a place to stay. So I decided it's a nice apartment. I'll be in one of the rooms there. They looked at him and they said, did you get paid for your services? Got paid. No. So now it's time to... He says, what's this chutzpah? What's this chutzpah? You're chasing me out. Without me, where would you guys be? You would be in Bayberik, you would be in Klotz, you would be in Kush, and you would be in Hoidu. It's only me. I'm the one. You know how hard I work to bring you together? So now you're throwing me out of your house. Without me, you have no shaykhs, you have no dvekis. I'm staying here. How long? Loilam vad. They're looking at us, I'm a sugar. I said, I'm a sugar. You guys are crazy. I'm the glue. I am the glue. Ich bin the devek. I'm the crazy glue. He said, crazy you are, glue you're not. Without me, you completely wouldn't have a connection. It's only because of me and my endless work and negotiations and shkarim and guzmoyas and dramas and drashas and chaloimus shecholma acherim al acherim that you are here together tonight. I'm a hype mechutan. At some point, they had to call 911. There was no choice. The guy is stubborn. They had to get rid of him. Stellt sich the Shaila, he has a point. Why are they throwing him out? The answer is, a shadchan plays a very, very important role until they come together. Yes, you're the one who introduced them, and you're the one who explains things, and you're a messenger, and you're a shliach, and you're a shadchan, etc. Once you brought them together, now it's a husband and wife. V'davak be'ishtei v'hoyu lebasa echad. Okay, nyazavish. Now it's time for you to leave. Plag gufa, as it says in Zoya Vayikra. Plag gufa. It's two halves. When are you going to come into two halves? Now you have no shayches. Same in Amakam Azar. You're the one. There was a time when you were very important. It's like the moitz, like we learned in Likud Torah Vayikach Haman. The moitz, the chaff on the chaff on the kernel, the moitz, is very, very important, because without the chaff, it can't develop, it can't ripen. But once it gets ripened, you have to throw away the moitz. You don't leave the kernel in the klippa. And fakert, as long as it's in the klippa, it's not mechuyev and meiser. You first have to take it out. There's threshing and winnowing. And then you do miruach hakeri, you make piles. And then it's mechuyev and meiser, asiri yekaidesh. Because the shell is important. You can't grow without the shell, because the moist and the heat would destroy the kernel. But that's in the beginning. So in the early stages, the shadchan is very important. But then comes the relationship that is essential between the husband and the wife. Kechol hadvarim ha'ela, kechol ha'chizayin hazeh, is also in the relationship between a Yid, a Jew, and Hashem. Seichel is the shadchan. The mind, the brain, intellect is a shadchan, important shadchan. The mind helps the person ask questions, be inquisitive, be curious. Me'ayim basa, lo natahoylech, v'rem me'ataselet in the mecheshben. Spoke about chayvus alavavis, shara bchina, shara yichud. Da verstehen, wo me kommt, wo me geht, psa welt, ein davar oises atzmai, all the proofs of the chayvus alavavis. The intellect serves an important goal to open a person to a higher truth, to search, to ask questions, etc. And that's why we cherish the shadchan, we cherish the mind, we cherish the brain, we use it, we appreciate it, we pay it dividends. Once a year comes Purim. The chassan and the kala turn to the shadchan and say, Ein tag ayar trag zich up. One day a year, leave us alone. Do me a favor. The hakstat shainik, I can't say, you're very important, because this is a hard shidduch. It's not the Yitzhahara machtan meisim. It's not an easy shidduch. We understand. But once a year, just leave us alone. God gave an anand. This is the adulayad. People think adulayad, that this one goes to sleep, and this one vet a frivolous chayera. That's why Purim is deeper than Yom Kippur. As is the mashal. Purim is deeper than Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur state lifnei Hashem titaru. So the Balatanya teaches lifnei Hashem is beyond Yud Kei Vav Kei. But there's an in of tshuva, mit mechillah, mit slich, and you have to fast. The chiddush of Purim is, it's not a day of mechillas, mit tshuvas, with slichas, with racham, and with tachanunim fakert. You eat and you drink and mishta v'simcha and the alat tziyurim. And b'chavim mishlayach manas, matanas levyonim, chocolate the whole day, chocolate there, chocolate back, candies, lollipops, cotton candy there and back. What? Those were mahadis, sushi shalach manas, v'chuli, brownies, chalas. But it's all those pchinas. Yom Kippur, you would do that. Everyone would look at you. So we say Purim is even deeper. Yom Kippurim. Purim is deeper. So once a year, you turn to the seichel and say, do me a favor. Give me a break. Just give me a break for 24 hours. You'll come back on Shushan Purim. Adaloyada. I want to go to a place that's deeper than das. The relationship shouldn't be limited by intellect. It shouldn't be limited by seichel. It should be completely infinite, uninhibited. Uninhibited. How do you bring Purim into the whole year, though? Every Yom Tov, you need the whole year. But that's the nekuda of Purim. The nekuda of Purim. So davar pnimi b'moid ma'oid. Very, very, very. Purim is a anins tatag. Purim is a serious day. It's a very deep day. So Those who are not don't understand the union of Adaloyada, Teuf is the Chitzonius. So this one walks, screams, and is on the tables, and can't hear Wavart. And this one sleeps. Mela, say that. Kol Yisrael Kedoshim. Everyone has their own. Every person has their inyan. But the Oimek of Adaloyada is very, very profound. It's beyond being profound. It's going to that place of Lo Yada. He doesn't know the difference. He doesn't need Yoda. The Herst, the Rebbe's Avort. He doesn't need Yoda, the Lo Yoda. And dafür ist der Shatchen. Dafür ist der Shatchen, Arer Haman and Baruch Mordechai. The Etzem HaNefesh, his Atzmius screams it out. That was the Takana of Mordechai. That was the holy union of Esther, Mordechai. That's the Yom Tov that they made. The Yom Tov that they made is the Yom Tov of Bligvul, the Yom Tov of infinity, the Yom Tov of Lo Yada, the Yom Tov of L'maylam and Adas, the Yom Tov of Etzem HaNefesh, where the core comes out. And it's a fliss that flows. There's no limitations. There's no hakbalas. There's no inhibitions. Well, they do a whole year. It's great for Purim. Oh, that year was a state of Adaloyada. That whole year, from the Gzeira, it says in Torah, it was a state of Mesiras Nefesh a whole year. How do you take this into the whole year? You can't sit like this every night. Maybe some of you could, but not everybody. So the emes is that in Torah, it's brought in Svarim, Torah is Mayim, and in Torah there's Yayim. There's the Mayim of Torah, Ein Mayim ala Torah, and there's what's called Yener shel Torah. Ki toivim doidecha miyoyin. You have the union of Yener shel Torah, the Yayin of Torah. It's brought in Imrei Bin and Svarim. There's a Mayim of Torah, and there's the Yayin of Torah. The Yayin of Torah is, Mayim is on the open. Comes from the heavens, you have the oceans, you have the lakes, you have streams, you have rain, you have wells, you have canals, you have brooks. Yayin is hidden in the grape. You have to crush the grape and take out the wine. Nichnas yayin, yatsa sod, because wine is a sod. Wine itself is a secret. It's in the grape. And you have to go to a gas, the halacha calls it a gas, a wine press, and medaf kvetch, to bring out the yayin. It's an avoid, and it's a big avoid to bring out the yayin. That's the pnimius of Torah. It's the soid of Torah. The beginning of soidus of Torah. Nichnas yayin yatsa soid, the soidus of Torah. Generally, nigla of Torah speaks about das. Soidus of Torah speaks about adaloyada. Because the definition of nigla the Torah is dafke das. A person is betzelem elakim. You have to use your das. You have to be in control. You have to have das, awareness. What's kodesh? What's chol? What's tomei? What's tar? Dafke das. Soidus HaTorah, pnimius HaTorah, that's the beginning of adaloyada. Not that das is not a good thing, but that the relationship is much deeper than das. There's two ways of living Yiddishkeit. And both are very, very beautiful, but there's two ways. There's the mayim of Yiddishkeit, the yayin of Yiddishkeit. The way of living Yiddishkeit, basically, I have a contract with Hashem. Hashem is my employee, yeah? So Shalom Patash hires you, or somebody else hires you, yeah? You have to be there at 9 o'clock after the Shia Gemara, till 5, till 6, and you get paid. You don't come once, okay. You don't come twice. You don't come 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. What do? You call in the guy. You say, Chasal Seder Pesach. This is not for you. The contract is, you're breaking the contract. I'm happy to give you a paycheck if you put in the work, but you don't show up. By many people, that's Yiddishkeit. There's a contract. Hashem is the employer. He says, listen, you work for me. And I'm the boss. You want Chagas and Tehet. Here's the contract. Shachas, the Minchas, the Mairivs, the Plagues, the Vasikin, the Krishmas Shalamita. The shalosh shudus, the this, shiurim. But it's a contract. And I'm a good boss. I give rewards in this world. My big rewards are in that next world. Schar alma, schar mitzvah b'hai alma leka, the Gemara says. But it's a contract. And what happens if a Jew breaks the contract? Once, okay, it happens. Twice, 3 times, 10 times, 20 times. And what if he takes it? I'm not interested. God says, have a good day. Have a good day. Bye. It's over. It's gone. There's no relationship anymore. The relationship is based on what? You come to work. You don't come to work, bye-bye. Go find yourself another world. Go find yourself another planet. Yeah. They say that the Lev Simcha, the Ger Rebbe, the Lev Simcha, he made takonas for chasanas, to make cheap weddings, because he didn't want that, there should be a struggle to make a wedding. So somebody came in, he had a lot of money, and he wanted to make a beautiful chasana. He said, no, by us, this is the uniform, everybody does it. He says, but I have all this money, and it's a pasnish, I want to make a beautiful wedding. So he says, nem de geld and kauf sich a neue Rebbe. Take the money and buy a new Rebbe for yourself. What do you want from me? Well, kauf sich a neue Rebbe. Yeah, not a bad answer, right? So today, a lot of people relate to it. You see it, they can do it, yeah. They can do it, yeah. You don't like this woman, nem de geld and kauf sich a neue, right? And he starts doing kaidim to you, and again, everybody's happy. Nicht versteht, was a chassid is, nicht versteht, was a rebbe is, nicht versteht, was chassidus is, nicht versteht, was Torah is. But the main thing is, it looks good. For the pictures, the magazines, it looks good. He sits open on bam tish, he does kaidim to the rebbe, and the rebbe does even more kaidim to him. One is b'yechidus, and one is b'fahasya. So good. When you break the contract. No, so what do you want? You want to. So that's it. That's one. That's the relationship with Hashem. Al derech hanigla. You open up a chumash. In b'chakoyse telechi is get anisht. Have a good day. That's it. There's a job to do. I'm going to reward you. You got to work. You show up good. You want to be kaifer. You're going to be this. Ein lecha shayche. Ein lecha chelech b'lekei Yisrael. But now is a shaila. This is all with an employee. What if it's your own child that you hired? Your own child you hired. And you're a healthy father. I'm not talking about you're a meshugana father. Because we always have to say that. You're a good father. You're a healthy father. Your child doesn't show up. You call in your child, you say, we have a contract. You're supposed to make $200,000 a year. $150,000 a year after taxes. Not bad. 300, whatever it is, I'm giving you the best salary. Best salary. Maybe next year you'll do 300,000. You got to show up. So I'm not interested. I'm not showing up anymore. Tears up the contract. So do you say, that's it. I don't know you anymore. Have a good day. Arois, out, get out of here. Still my child. I'm talking about a healthy father. And if the child comes back and says, let's reconsider it, a regular employee, I may say, I had enough. But a child, of course, I always want to be close to my child. Because there's a relationship that's much deeper. That's called the relationship al derech hasoid. It's the underlying relationship. It's bonim atem. There's imka bonim and there's imka avodim. It's not just based on a contract. There's an essential relationship. And even if you break every contract in the world, you can't break the relationship. The relationship is not created by a contract. The relationship is Yisrael v'kutchabrichu kol echad. The contract is just there to bring out the relationship. One is the b'chin of yada, one is the b'chin of adalo yada. B'chin of yada is make a cheshbon in life. I want to live a good life. I want to have a good job. You want to have a good job? You want to make a living? Show up 9 o'clock. So it's a very oizge cheshbon to Yiddishkeit. And there's people who do it very well. And the people who really excel in this, have Yidden. They always have the right dividend Torah, and they know the parsha, and they don't go into Shabbos stuff. They go into the Shabbos with Chasam Sofer, with Orachayim, with Kleyokos, with Yismach Moishes. But sof kol sof, a person could still be in a place where they never, ever, ever go out of their hagbolas, ever limitations. They're so uptight. The relationship with Hashem is so sad. It's so depressing. It's so depressing. It's so uptight. It's so nicht geschmack. It's like they themselves know if there's any way they could get out of this, they would run. They would run as fast as possible. Nebach, this is the life they have, yeah? So they have to say, Ashreinu matov chalkeinu. So they say, Ashreinu matov chalkeinu. Yeah. If you force them to dance, they'll even dance. But you could see on their face, as a gehenem mamash. So comes again the Baal Shem Tov and said, Ayid dit nicht dem Ebersten gedeit zu gehen zu Gan Eden. A Jew doesn't serve Hashem in order to have Gan Eden. A Jew doesn't stop out from Avedas in order to avoid Gehenna. Ayid didn't dem Ebersten. Und das ist Gan Eden. Das ist Gan Eden. The Heilige Kabaditchev said, if you'll take me to Gan Eden, and I'm going to be the only one there, and then you'll take me to Gehenna, and I'll see Psachabura Yid, and I'm going to stay in Gehenna. You tell it to Ayid, was from Yada, he said, what's that stuff? My whole life, I get up early in the morning, I daven v'sikin, kedei ich soll kennen haben a Stickel Gan Eden, mit Livyason, mit Shir Habar, von Rubashkin's Fleisch. So the ganze Tachlis Brias Ha'olam, Rubashkin's Fleisch, with Mashiach, of course, Livyason, Sherabar, Elam Haba, and this. Zaks to me, you're going to go to Gehenna because you're going to be alone there. Adinab, if you're alone, it's better. You'll have the whole of Yosson for yourself, the whole Sherabar. You have the whole Gan Eden for yourself. That's the best Gan Eden for Zayid. Nobody else. I'm a Chaya. Yeah. But the truth is, he's not Typhus. He looks at Gan Eden and Gehenna from a contract place. Gan Eden is the place where there's going to be endless sushi and spare ribs and Rubashkin's flesh. Yeah. He doesn't understand. If you're alone in Gan Eden, das ist the größte Gehenna. And if you're together with Yidden in Gehenna, Mishaynash Gan Eden. What's Gan Eden? What's Gehenna? It's a contract. If you're alone with your ego, mit deinen verstunkene Yeshes, where do you get a bigger Gehenna than that? Where do you get a bigger Gehenna than your own big arrogant ego? Noch a Toysvus. The Toysvus is just feeding your ego. Du hast doch nicht Kinder her in the Toysvus. Toysvus is Kedusha. The Baditchev says, Chabura Yidden in Gehenna is Shein Ashtekal Gan Eden. It's already a Geschmack of the Matzav. Because the definition of Gan Eden and Gehenna is the revelation of an essential relationship. You typhus what I'm saying. So a whole year there's two matzavim of Yiddishkeit. So when it comes Purim, you just see it. The Jew who only knows about Yada comes Purim Nebach, some mitzvah adla Yada, some modern mitzvah. So what does he do? He goes to sleep. And if he's a teenager and he still has kaiches, so he drinks and he runs around and jumps on all the tables. The next day, he goes back to the whole seer from Yada. But somebody that understands that a ganz Jahr Yiddishkeit is about Lo Yada. The whole Yiddishkeit is Lo Yada. The Yada is only a keli, it's a conduit, it's a facilitator to be able to bring the Lo Yada into regular life. But the Nekuda is the Dveikas. So then Purim is the normal day. Purim is the day you tell the Shatchin to go home and you spend time with your spouse. Echad be'echad yigashu v'zor lo yovei b'neihem. The first, echad be'echad yigashu v'zor lo yovei b'neihem. The Balatanya has a lashon, emuna tahira. Emuna tahira. So how does the world teach emuna tahira? Reine emuna, pure emuna. What's pure? What's not pure? What's not impure? So many people think emuna Torah means pure emuna means that you're completely brain dead. You're brain dead. So you, the B'chat Feigen, he said, what's pshat emuna Torah? As nicht verpatschket mit seichel enushi. Verpatschket means distorted, painted. It's not distorted. Mitzeichel anushi. Human intellect doesn't distort it. It doesn't manipulate it. The emunah remains pristine. It remains pristine. That's the thing of Purim. Emunah tahir adil lo yada. The nekuda comes out. The nekuda comes out. Vavada ordered Haman Baruch Mordechai. What suddenly Haman verta meyuchas on Purim suddenly becomes Baruch. But it comes from the etzem hanefesh. A Yid understands a whole year that the nekuda is not only the mayim but also the yayin. The yayin, then it's a b'china of adil lo yada. And the truth is, you have this in mayim itself also. In the halachas of mikveh, we know there's a difference between mayon and mikveh. What's the difference? A mikveh, l'mashal, you have rainwater. The rainwater fills up a boir, a cistern. That's kosher for a mikveh. It's not mayim chayim, but it's kosher for a mikveh. A mikveh min ha-Torah. Most tumas, you go into the mikveh, including a woman, and Torah min ha-Torah. It's a real mikveh. Today we even do most mikvahs hashaka and zriya. You're connected to the meik shaman. That's called mayim mechunasim. It's mayim that comes from heaven, from rainwater, and it gets gathered, but it's not raining right now. It's detached from the rain. It used to be rainwater. Now it's rainwater, but it's not raining anymore. It's in one place. Then the halacha is you need mem sa'ah. You need 40 sa'ah in order to be able to have tana. But then there's something called mayon, a well. Some of you have been to the Arizal's mikveh. It's a spring. It's called mayim chayim. And there's certain tumas that need it. For example, a zav and a zava. It's not enough to go into a rainwater mikveh. You need mayim chayim. What's that mayim chayim? Living water. What do you mean it's living? What makes it living? Pshat is, it's constantly flowing. There's a flow. It's matayr b'zeichel. There's always a flow because it's a living spring. It's still connected to its source. Yeah. And over there, the halacha is mayan metahir b'chol shehu. Even a kol shehu. You need to get your body into it, but you don't need memsa. You don't need a shear. Mayan metahir b'kol shehu. Even a kol shehu, a tip of water. Today in science, they speak about taking a tip and spreading it out, that it could cover your body. There is such a concept. But the point is, you don't need a shear. Even kol shehu is metahir. Ein mayim ala Torah, but there's two chalakim in Torah. There's nigla de Torah and there's pnimiyas ha-Torah. Nigla of Torah comes from heaven. Alts is the Ebershta. It's a lakus, Torah min ha-shamayim. But what's the difference? When I'm learning a shtickle Gemara, you're learning halachas of muktzah, you're learning the halachas of kashrus, you're learning the halachas of pigul, of karbonas. Whatever you're learning, Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, Baba Basra, Sanhedrin, Makas, Shvuas, Tadas, Zroyim, Moyed, Nashim, whatever you learn. Ksuvas, Gittin, Yevamis. You're learning Yibum. It's starkest svardas. But you don't necessarily feel the source. You don't necessarily feel the godliness. It's godly. Every word of Torah is Dvar Hashem. But you're learning a geschmacke inyan, a seichel dik. Even if you understand it well, it's a seichel dik inyan. This is like the mayim, that's rainwater. But now it's in the cistern. It's not in a visible way connected to the source. So you need a shear. You go in, memsa, and it's matayir. Then you have mayon. Your futsu, what did Mashiach tell the Baal Shem Tov? Your futsu, mainoisecha chutza. Mayon, may mayon, well springs, spring. A spring is always connected to the source. That's pnimiyas ha-Torah. Pnimiyas ha-Torah, what are you learning? You're learning about Elokus. You're learning about Ein Sof. You're learning Getlichkeit. That's the sugya, that's the teichen. It's always connected. B'meila, metayr b'chol shu. Kol shu. One kol shu is enough. You don't need more. If you can get the nekuda, the kol shu, you're there. With one t'nai, your body has to be covered. Meaning, what says your body has to be covered? You have to really go into it. You have to let it cover you. You have to let it go into you. But it's one nekuda. Those of you who are zeicha to learn Teiras HaSeid, Teiras HaNista, Pnimiyas HaTorah, especially Teiras HaBaal Shem Tov. And I say those of you who are zeicha, because leider, sadly, there's a lot of people who call themselves Chassidim, but they don't know anything about Chassidus. They think Chassidus means you wear shtreimel, and you eat kugel by shalosh shudas. That's what they think. That's what it is. They don't know Pashat anymore. Yeah. For some people, maybe it's another few minhagim. But to understand what chassidus is, they don't know. The mamash don't know. It's not their fault. They're tinoikas shenishbu. Tinoikas shenishbu means they Pashat don't know. They hear psa vertel, psa apter, a vertel from the apter of, psa vertel from the heilige Sar Shalom, or the vertel from the Pshia Lebelze, or the vertel from the Baran Lebelze, or the vart from the heilige Baditsheve, Asfas Emes, Abar Mayim Chayim, Akdishas Leivi, and Avoidus Yisrael, Amoy V'Shemesh, a vart from the heilige Baal Shem Tov, Yoishe Divrei Emes, Magid Varav L'Yakov, Oir Hamayir, Avada Moirinayim, Grosse Heilige Yidden, Savertel. They don't know what it is. It's an insight here, an insight there. They don't spend their time, Pasha, to learn Chassidus, to learn Teres HaBaal Shem Tov in a serious way. In a serious way, if that you can understand it and internalize it. Some of the Pasha don't know what it is. So if a person, mamish, doesn't know what it is, so he could be in a system and in a culture, but there's mamish no havana. And you see today, hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands of people, when you look at them, and they look at themselves, they're called chassidim. But if you speak to them for 5 minutes, and they're honest, they're like, I don't know what I stand for, what I don't stand for, what I believe in, what I don't believe in. All I know is they tell me, Messiah, tradition of the family, this is what you do. Why, what, when, where. And there's an emptiness as a result. There's an emptiness. But those who are zoiche to be able to have adeloyada in Yiddishkeit. What says adeloyada? To learn Chassidus. And learn Chassidus you have to learn every day. Torah, all Torah you have to learn every day. Just like you have to learn Nigla every day, you have to learn Chassidus every day. Especially Shabbos, especially a few days a week at least. Learn every day. But people open up a sefer, they see klippos, haichalas, neshamas, atzilas, leave me alone, leave me alone. Yeah. There's chassidim that are so desperate for inspiration. Wherever they hear there's action, they run. They run here, they run there, they have sasgula, they run here, they run there, they're running, they're going, they don't know. The main thing is aloift, because he's looking for something, maybe it's here, maybe it's there. But there's no substitute for the real thing. The real thing is to sit and Pashat learn Chassidus, but it's hard, it's not easy. He opens up a safe, he doesn't know what hit him. So the worst is Eretzechain, he knows. Svidis, Haichalas, Atzilas, Bria, Neshamas. He becomes delusional. And because he really knows nothing, so what happens is he thinks that nobody knows anything. The whole thing doesn't make sense. And he creates this whole philosophy that doesn't really make sense. But he doesn't want to believe that maybe somebody does know, and he has to become a Talmud. It's a pasnish. He should become a Talmud. He's 68 years old. He's a Mechabes Svarim. But he doesn't understand the Vart. You see his Svarim. He quotes from everybody, but he understands nothing. Somebody once said that in our generation, people know the price of everything and the value of nothing. Some people, they quote everything. They know nothing. So this is a Torah Shlema. The Gilui of Torah HaBaal Shem Tov is a Torah Shlema. But you have to be very humble to be a Talmud. It's not easy to be a Talmud. Who wants to be a Talmud? There's Shna Rebbe. So Nebuch, he thinks that everyone understands as much as he understands. Because he doesn't want to be moide. But the emes is that you can understand it. But you have to have a good teacher or a good sefer that explains. And then you go into the Mayan, and the Mayan is mechuber. And then for once in your life, you could start feeling who you are. And you could start understanding what Yiddishkeit is in the B'chin of Adel Lo Yada. And then is bit kolshehu. One tip is enough. One tip. I once heard from Rabbi Khan. He was a mashpiyah, he taught us Chassidus. He once said, we were learning, I think, a mimer from the Balatanya, from the Rebbe Rashab. He said that there was a chassid who once said, or maybe he just said it on his own, that really in the life, you only have to learn one mimer. You don't have to learn anything else. You could learn one mimer. That's enough. Any mimer you want. One mimer, chassidus is enough for your whole life. But he said, but to understand that mimer, you have to learn another 1,000 maimonim. But it's just to understand, because Maya and Metayr b'kol shuhu, you need a kol shuhu. One shudder from the Alter Rebbe is Metayr ayid la'adl l'netzach netzach. It's one shudder. But to be teufus, that shudder, that line, that's Malen and Zibit Sekiyar. To be teufus, the shudder. It's like DNA, kavayachal, lahavdil. DNA, they take your saliva, yeah? They take your saliva. A kosher. You have there the DNA, you have there the atzmias. Every shura, every line, every word, a kosher has everything. It has the maya. It has the nekuda of emes, adalayada. To internalize it, to be teufus it, you got to get it over your body. You need many drops, and you have to go into it. You have to go into it. You have to be zich teuvel. You have to put your head into it. Das ist the adalayada von Yiddishkeit. Because you have the adalayada of Yiddishkeit. Kommt Purim. Kommt Yom Kippur. You could celebrate. Via Yid, via Mensch, via normale Mensch. You understand what Mordechai had gewollt? And you don't know what hit you. What did Mordechai want? But it's not just Purim. It's Yom Kippur. It's every Yom Tiv. The ganze Jahr is a psanande Jahr. So adalayada de kiyar. The day it comes out is Purim. Was schlafst du? You understand what I'm saying? Atayvanta, Rabbi Salomon Evanta, lo kalkach. Huh? Tafasta? There's a light at chil umad chassidus. לא רק תגיד שבפורים אתה יוצא מהמחבוא וזה, אבל באמת להתחיל. לא צריך להיות חבדניק ללמוד חסידס, אפשר להיות חסיד בלז וללמוד חסידס. רבי זריאל הוא חסיד בלז, ללמוד חסידס כל יום, לא צריך להיות חבדניק. כן sein הבובבר, הפופר, הגרר, הסטמר, הוויז'ניצר, הליטווק, man kann lernen Chassidus, man kann sein ein Moderner, man kann sein ein Yeshivischer, man kann lernen. Chassidus ist teure, man darf nicht sein ein Lubavitcher, mit Betten und Malede, with a Barcelino hat, like you wear on Purim. Kannst kommen mit a Biberhutel, kannst kommen mit a Streimel, kannst kommen auch mit a Baseball cap, if du willst. Wie du willst. You don't have to be a Lubavitcher. People think you have to be, Lubavitchers learn Chassidus. Halavai Lubavitchers would learn Chassidus. They're supposed to learn Chassidus. I'm not getting Lubavitchers to learn Chassidus. I'm saying Ayid. Especially those who call themselves Chassidim. Mit was is man a Chassid? Kugel? Because there's bleachers by the Purim Tish. Shiner asked me if I want bleachers. I said, das ist gut für andere. Ich darf nicht keine bleachers. Look, l'chaim. L'chaim, 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 l'chaim. There has the word Adla Yada. Adla Yada ben Aron Haman. The question is on the Yada. Lo Yada ben Aron Haman l'barach Mordechai. It's not based on, not confined to Das. The Pnimius HaNefesh comes out. The Pnimius HaNefesh comes out. L'mayla mitam v'das, yeah. That's the beginning of Goydel, Purim, or Shemapur, who are Goydel. That's what a Goydel is. That's why Haman made a Goydel. Miyoideya. L'mayla min hadas. Das is the pshat. It's with a cheshbon, with a seich. It's like a philosophy. The head it's intellectual, which is important. It's a beautiful thing. The mind is a beautiful thing. Yeah, that a chachmish benefesh. Yeah, it's connected.
What's his name? What's his heart? Lev.
Ratzon is lev, or Ratzon is the ganze guf. Ratzon is not limited to one place. Getoiv lev hamelech bayayin. Suya yayin nichnas ulamikdash.
Purim, you give him the old Purim, this tennis lev yoinem.
If Eistach the word that Lubavitcher Rebbe teaches the Gemara, come Rabbi Shachtel Rebzeri, you know what he teaches the Gemara, yeah? Moidedik. The Gemara says Rabbi and Rebzeri did a Sudas Purim. Ifsum. Ifsum means they got drunk. Come Rabbi Shachtel Rebzeri. Rebzeri is dead. The next day, boy Rachim, he made Chiyas HaMeis. The next year, he says, let's do it again. He says, Lav b'chol shaitim esrachish nisa, we're not doing it. So, you remember the Farbrengen? 770 was electrified. So it was 1 year, Shabbos after Purim. The Rebbe had his Shabbos Farbrengen, and he spoke about this Gemara. He started to ask a lot of questions. First of all, how could you believe that Rabbi did shvichas damim? I mean, we all see people who get drunk. To take a knife and slaughter somebody. There are a lot of drunkards here tonight. So they disturb, yeah. Scream, they scream, yeah. Vomiting, they vomit. Sit on my shoulder, they shoulder. Kiss, hug, jump. They don't. Somebody. Sometimes a person gives a smack, but to take a knife and shecht somebody. We never see it even by us, Pasha to Yidden. Come, Rabbi, Shachtel, Rebzeda. And you would think he shechts him, he would go crazy, he would sober up. No, Lemachar. He continued Farbrengen. Kishma Shalamita, you know. Lemachar tomorrow. He went to the mikveh, daven Shachris. After Shachris, oh, by the way, the Bzeda is dead. Oh, make it. What's this Lemachar? How can you kill somebody? Don't you go crazy? You would think he would sober up from murdering somebody, no? The Bzeda would scream, no? Shaimrim, Hatzalah, somebody would come in. Nobody was there. Let's say nobody was there. Not he, Epis. Then says the worst thing is the next year. He invites him back to the Suda. I don't understand. You did the worst Aveda, Shvichas Domim Mamish. You invite him back, Shamsichish. You're Bechlal on speaking terms. And then, I remember the Rebbe said, what does the Bzeda tell him? The Bzeda doesn't tell him, HaChutzpah. He says, actually, I'll be happy. The problem is, Lav b'chol shaitim esrachish nisa. But if I would know that there would be another nest, Pashalasta, go ahead. Shechts me mit abruche. Wie man sagt bei euch, shechts mit abruche. So the Marsha says it doesn't mean he shechted him, it means he gave him too much to drink. And he got sick, and he almost died. That's pshat. And Chiyas HaMeisim doesn't mean, it means he davened for him and he got healthy. Yeah. But the Gemara says, Shachtel Rebzeda. Yeah. Some Sofer brings that the Gemara says in Shabbos, Kufnavav, that Rabbi was Mazel Maidim. When you're born in Mazel Maidim, so then you could be either a Shoichet, or a Moil, or a Tzayach. Zolzani was born in Mazel Maidim, so he became a Ritzeach. Rabbi. And then the Gemara says in Brachas, Rabbi said, Kegoyna na beinani. Amalei abayil, shavik mar chayil, chol beria. If you're a beinani, then nobody could live. I mean, if you're a beinani, it's like the tzaddik hadar. So Rabbi wasn't a small person. The Gemara also says about Rabbi, Bab Mitzil, Pasik Puma Megirsa. The Malach HaMavas couldn't get him. You know that. He made a ruckus in the bushes, and he went to check, and he died. So it was a Yid. He called himself a Beinani. Abaye said, L'shavik Marchai. So now he's going to murder somebody. So the whole mice, the Rishonim say, Rabbeinu Ephraim says, that the reason the Gemara brings the mice is to tell you that the halach is that you're not allowed to get drunk on Purim, because you see what happened. The halach in Shulchan Aruch, we don't paskin that way. We paskin you get drunk. But you see from the Rishonim, that they held that it was a real story. It's not just he got sick. He killed him. And that's why the Gemara brings it to say, don't get drunk on Purim. I still remember the kashitz of the Rebbe was half of a fellow. The Rebbe Masbegevan, something moided. Right. He can make tchiyas amesim, but he murders people. I mean, it's a modern zach. Yeah. So he said, Rabbi and Abzeda ifsum, they got drunk. They didn't just get drunk on wine. They got drunk, they reached the pchin of Adaloyada. The gilui of Soidas HaTorah, the deepest secrets of Torah came out. The Yechida of Torah, the Etzem of Torah, the Pnimius of Torah, the Yayin of Torah, the infinity of Torah. Come Rabbi. Rabbi hat sich weggestellt. L'meinaf Kamina come, and if he did it sitting, in Gemara is B'diak, and if he killed him sitting, is a difference. What's the difference of the Shechtzim standing, the Shechtzim sitting? Come Rabbi. He stood up, and if he sat, he said, Come Rabbi is the pshat. Come Rabbi, he stood up, he was elevated to a much greater place. Shachtel at Abzeda. He shechted Abzeda. So he touched Azoi. Not he took a knife and shechted him. The Gemara says in Chul and Daf Lamed, Ein v'shachat elo u'moshach. The word v'shachat in Hebrew means you don't kill an animal. You draw. Moshach, Mashiach. That's how we know that shchita has to be a draw, right? It shouldn't be a drusi. You don't... Du kennst doch die Inyanen. Bist doch gesetzen auf dem. You don't take a knife and stab. There has to be a rotzi v'shoiv. You're moishach. Ein v'shachat alo moshach. Shchita is Mashiach. You're moishach something. Come Rabbi Shachtel at Abzeda. He was moishach at Abzeda to a world of Bligavul, and he died. But he didn't die from violence. He died from Klois HaNefesh. The Guf couldn't take it. He says, Rabbi means big. Abzeda means small. Rabbi had big kalim. So he could live. And Abzeda, it's like too much electricity. The voltage burns up the wires. You know when somebody gets very excited and they feel like they're passing out? Their Guf can't take it. It's like nuclear energy. You can't take it. Told the Maisa that the Balatanya used to learn with Rabbi Avram HaMalach, the Maggid's son. 3 hours a day Nigla and 3 hours Kabbalah. The Balatanya taught him Nigla, Gemara Poiskin, and Rabbi Avram HaMalach taught him Kabbalah 3 hours. One time after the Shia, they saw the Balatanya eating a bagel with butter. A bagel mit putte. They never saw him eating such a thing. Mela a bagel, but with butter. They never saw him eating such a thing. It's a shtickle grubbe zach to eat.
Explain that.
They don't even know. Chassidim don't even know that today, huh? They think it's a chassidish zach. Together with jalapeno herring. By real chassidim, they knew that eating a bagel with butter is a grubbe zach. It's like, whatever, it just didn't work. So they asked him what happened. So he said that when he was learning with Rabbi Malach, he felt that he was going to pass away. So he needed a fatty Michael to keep him down. Yeah. And then the Lubavitcher Rebbe said something else. He said he heard this from Polish Chassidim, that the Mordechai Rebbe, you remember he said this? He said the Mordechai, he said the Zayda from the Heintika Mordechai, this was 1984. So the Mordechai passed away a few months later. But he said the Zayda from the Heintika Mordechai, I think it was the Divrei Shaul, needed surgery, and he went to Berlin. So the Rebbe told the story, the whole story. Huh? Rebbe Yisrael? The Divrei Yisrael, yeah? And the problem is, he said they couldn't do anesthesia because he was too weak. So he said he's going to compose a niggin, and when they see that he's in the middle of the niggin, they should do the surgery. And he composed the niggin, the famous thing, I think, Ela Eskera. They sing it only on his yard site. Yud Gimel Kislev, Dachtzach, and maybe Yom Neirayim. So the Hoibin and niggin. It has like 72 stanzas or 40, like a huge amount of stanzas. So they saw, and the Lubavitcher Rebbe said he was in the middle of the niggin, and they did the surgery, and he didn't feel anything. He said, so here you have, even in our generations, a Jew, he didn't die, but you see a matzav, that his sensation in his body was over. So come Rabbi Shachtel at Abzeda, there was such a gilui of Seidus HaTorah, of Pnimis HaTorah. They felt a lakus, they felt Ein Sof. He couldn't live, so the Bzeda was gone. So Rabbi wasn't Kleis HaNafesh, like Nodav and Aviyu. The next day, he wants the Bzeda, he doesn't want him in heaven. So he had gebeten Dachem, and there was Chiyas HaMeis. The next year, he says, not only did Rabbi not regret it, he says, beautiful. So das ist Purim. Das ist Purim. Das ist Purim. Adelo Yada. That's Purim. So he said, not only did he not have charata, he invited him again. And the Bzeda wasn't upset. The Bzeda didn't say, he said, I would love to. There's one problem. So the Rebbe teaches, once a neshama leaves, it's very hard to get it back. Because the neshama likes it up there. Down here is our shtickle galus. We like it down here, but then with the neshama is very happy, lamaila. The coming down is not easy. You did this on neshama beguf is a hard Indian. It's a trauma. It's the first trauma that we have. All the traumas, you think you have traumas. All the traumas in life pale in comparison to the trauma of you did this on neshama beguf. So the Bzeda said, Lav b'chol shaitim mislachesh nisa. I'm afraid that if we do it, my neshama won't come down this time. Won't want to come down. But mainly we let it go. Das ist the pshat in the Gemara. The heißt, Kom Rabbi, schachtel the Bzeda. Since it was Zeda, he didn't have those kelim. It was Kleis HaNafesh. Daled nichnesu lepardes. Ben Azai, hitzitz, v'meis. Ben Zoyme, hitzitz v'nivga. Elisha ben Avoye, hitzitz v'netiyas. Rabbi Akiva, nichnes b'shalom v'yotze b'shalom. It's a b'chin of Rabbi. So what's the maskana? He says the maskana is that Purim, Ayid hat the koyach to this, to go into such a b'china of a gilui b'li gvul of elokus, but in the oifen of neshamas begufim. Das ist gewesen Shabbos Parsh, Shabbos nach Purim. I think Shabbos Parsh is Tzav. If I'm not mistaken, it was the same kviyas. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. It was 1984, Tovshim Mem Dalet. I think Purim was Thursday. Also ich dachte sich, because Shabbos, I remember, was close to Purim. Maybe Purim was Friday, I don't remember. Shmini and Tazriya, yeah. The Shabbos after Purim. But which day was Purim?
I was born on Monday, 12th day Adar, and it was between those two Shabbatos. Then it said specific on two Shabbatos.
Yeah, a Hamshach. Because in the middle of the week they asked a lot of questions, so the next Shabbos the Rebbe continued it.
The 12th day was a Monday, you make the Thursday, I don't know where it's from.
So it was the Shabbos after Purim, that I remember. You were there?
I was there. I remember the Jacobson.
It was electrifying. It was electrifying. When the Rebbe asked the questions, you can hear a pin drop. The Rebbe was so verkocht in the questions. Remember, he gave a scream. Nicht, not hat nicht charot. Kommt doch beten. It was electrifying. You can hear a pins drop. The Rebbe, before he started the beer, he said he's going to say a beer. And when they used to write up the sikhs, they could write it up in Yiddish and Lashon Kodesh, but they shouldn't write it up in English. And he said, because people in English they're not used to these inyanim, and they might read the questions and not read the answer. And they'll just learn that, one Amoyre murdered another Amoyre. So he said it shouldn't translate into English. Ma'aimosai. Ema says Miloshin Ema. The herst, Kam Rabbi Schachtel Reb Zeda. Ja, the Shinneverov, sie gedrückt. Ich habe die Recheskel in Stib. The Shina Verov. The Mufgeheben. Yeah. The Nekuda is, as Yiddishkeit should always be in the oifen of lo yada. In other words, not uptight and measured and rigid and nervous. You're nervous. It's. I wouldn't use the word chilled out. Chilled out is mashma. Yeah. Chilled out is a person is not uptight. He's not rigid. He's not angry. It's a good thing. But I'm not talking about chill. I'm talking about there's an Edenskite. Chilled out sometimes just means you don't care. You chilled out, yeah. In life, it's good to be calm and relaxed, but some things are serious things. Yer Shamayim is a serious thing. But the point is, mit der Dveikus, mit der Geschmack, mit der Simche, mit der Schmeichel, mit der Warmkeit. He's not like a prisoner, like him. He doesn't like to say he was in prison. He says, I was in a place that some people call prison. You know that, yeah? So first I thought it's a shtick, it's a Rubashkin shtick, a play. But then I see Taka believes it. Lo yada.
He might say you're not the shaylas before the like.
He says he doesn't say he was in prison. He says, I was in a place that some people call prison.
That's by my neshama. I talk about.
Because the neshama is nicht in the neshama is davak mit Neibishter. The Eibishter is not in prison, so you're also not in prison.
Shaylas apseichel was du ihm so schwer. Ja, lo yada.
Lo yada. He says the Eibishter wasn't in prison, so if the neshama is one with Hashem, so you're not in prison. The goof is physically in prison. Okay, hat shlichus, but he's not. The herst, Fitcher the herst, you're also not in prison. If Rubashkin is not in prison, you don't have to be in prison. Now by climbing, you hear? You don't have to be in prison. When Rubashkin wasn't in prison, what do you have to be in prison? Gam ki elach. Lo yirira katamad. Rabbi Zil, Tagidla, I said over a whole Torah from you in the Shir, Erev Purim, you remember? Ad Anna Ashes Eitzes Benavshi. From the Ruzhana. I said over the whole Maisa with your lawyer that he said he didn't want to, you remember you were there? That he didn't want to tell him about the appeal rejected. So he told the lawyer, it's a shtus, I was happy. Valde Kenyan. Beyond. Yeah. Doesn't mean that, he says, doesn't mean that you stop using your head. You have to use your head. The head is a beautiful thing. It means you're not limited. You don't let it limit. You don't have to understand everything. Yeah, you have to figure everything out. You have to be able to be free. Just let the relationship go without calculating. You don't have to be self-conscious. Bittel. Meruft is bittel by uns. Bittel. Someone gehört the word bittel? Bittel. You know what bittel is? Bittel is very heavy. Bittel Chantz. Du darfst schon gehen? Wer wart? Der Edem. Ich hasse nicht gebnei. Wart schon für die 3 Stunden, der Chaga. Just for the record, he's waiting 3 hours already, but fine, now you realized. Freilichen Purim and Freilichen Tamid, thank you for coming. Nu, die was daarvoor maken naar Bracha Achreine, want zich maken naar Bracha Achreine. Die was daarvoor mensen, ja. I davened, but Mustami, you'll be able to make a minyan from people who didn't have a ma'ariv. I'm sure you have a minyan. Neem de mij.
Nee.
ich gewusst, dass du gehst.
Sei mal.
Setz dich auf weg.
Was teil ich da kann? Mach schon mal nicht.
Speak to the Oilam, don't speak to
I'm asking
I'm also not in prison. Speak to the Oilam.
I just wanted to ask.
Even though I live in Muncie, I'm still not in prison.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. After you get,
That's in the Oilam.
I'm kommt on zum Maki von der Yoda. Da später da Farbrengen dem Yoda in the Yoda. That's the next step. You can't lassen as a right? But da reinbringen. The idea is to bring in the kasher atzmi that either has with the Eibishter into Yoda. So now your brain, your head starts working in a Eifen as a Geschmack in Yiddishkeit. It's a Geschmack, it's a lot of Geschmack to mitzvah. So it's one more step. Adla Yoda, and that's the chayah when you bring Purim into the year. Yeah, they have to be explained to your behemoth.
You bring it back into the Shadchan.
Yeah.
Here the Shadchan is inside, but not the Shadchan.
Yeah. I don't want to be in das ist hat ja diese alle bis gemo. Es stimmt nicht, nein.
Ayin, Dalet, Yud.
Nee, es hat leider. Sie Bollock ist waftlich gekommen, right? After. Bollock after das waftlich gekommen. Ich stimmt nicht, aber ist noch kann du musst auch stimmen.
Das ist mit Daik sein, das ist Daik sein Platz.
Es kommt zu Mund, ich muss alles sagen, mit dir. Okay, I didn't want to break this up.
Break it up.
Sag ich bench teil, so Tzadik.
So das Teufels hat Slachem und Flagge bei Weides HaKodesh. Chazak sein jüdische Kinder und Aufheben jüdische Kinder.